9億、ヒップノーティック10億。
何？
要はまさに大 YouTuber 時代。
Victimizers beware, the racist and bigots' greatest nightmare. Social justice warriors. Get triggered.
It's the bias response team.
If you've been offended, your feelings must be defended. Freedom of expression is a microaggression. Here comes Angela Freddy. He's always ready to fight fascism with fascism.
Starbucks windows don't stand a chance.
Ethic enhancer. He's a systematic racism finder. Using the powers of screaming and shame, they win every debate by calling your name. They're heroes who think that they're victims. Social justice warriors. Get triggered.
Morality, and now we're facing media's mortality. They've lost the plot, we'll take a stand. These corporations must perish when we claim our land. Enough is enough, we've drawn the line. We'll take back our stories, a spark divine. The will of the fans, the storm on the rise. We won't be silenced by the hollow lies. We claim the legacy, break the chains. These companies must die for our world to remain. They can't take a passion. We're holding the gates for every fan stands protecting the will to create. We are the true keepers, the defenders of lore, and we won't stop until we settle the score.
Yes, of course it is. Once again, we are back. Of course it is WTF Live, and we are here. It's Thursday. Welcome, everybody. Oh, man. What a busy day. I have done so much today. I have uploaded like 10 videos to carry me through the weekend so I can take the misses away for a couple of days. But it's that show, of course, where we dissect and discuss all of the disgust, the dreck, the dross, and occasional decency from pop culture. And as always, I'm joined by my regular co-host, Mr. Ryan Roger Athay, and Mr. Ravenwolf, a.k.a. Dobby. Ryan, would you like to say hello, sir?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bigot Morning Show, the morning show of the Bigot Army, as we embrace bigotry to make pop culture great again. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well, and it's great to see you all watching today. It's always a pleasure to be on WTF Live, likewise with WhoTF Live, and hopefully we'll have a great talk about several topics of the day as we aim to revolutionize content creation, batter down the entertainment establishment, and make pop culture great again. And if you don't like it, well, you can get fucked.
Sod off, basically. Yeah. Yeah, you sure can. And there you go. Anyway, how you doing, Rev?
Ohayou gozaimasu! Welcome to Thursday. Yes, this is not an illusion. I survived the very first two episodes. I just felt all along, and I'm still recovering.
All right, why don't you tell us a bit about Agatha, because it's not on the docket, and we've got a pretty full show. So
It's
you
like
go ahead and tell us.
It's like the Acolyte decided to get into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was crap. Let's all go have lesbian love, because we are going to be in Agatha all along. Yay!
Yeah. All right. So Agatha's all ass as I expected then, yeah?
Pretty much, yeah.
Jeez.
2 episodes I survived. I did it, but I haven't done my review yet.
At least it was only 2 and not 3 like Rings of Power. Sod that. I didn't even try. I just took the family out instead. Called it an anti-review. It was all right. Except that I was renewing my visa, which is an absolute pain in the ass. But still better than watching the Rings of Power. Anyway, we have a lot of things that we are going to talk about tonight. We have a lot of news stories. There's all kinds of stuff going on with Warhammer. There's Dragon Age. There's what else? Sweet Baby Ink's got a new game out. Nobody cares. But we'll talk about all of that before we build up to the main event, which, of course, is let's have a look at the Ubisoft problem, because this company is in... It doesn't seem to realize how much trouble it's in. Like, they have not had a hit for I don't know how long. There's very little positive that anyone can think to say about Ubisoft. They're a laughing stock at the moment. So we will get to that, and we will go through our own histories and various things. Have a think, guys, about what your favorite Ubisoft game is, and we'll get to that. But before we do, we have to go through a lot of news very, very fast. Fortunately, we have a segment for that. Do you know what it's called? Yes, and shout out to everybody in the chat. I can see the mods are here too. We got Adam Juman, Eris Rhodas here as well. And of course, you guys are mods as well, as far as I'm aware. A couple of names I don't know yet, but thank you for coming and welcome. And it's nice to see people. Oh, Dramatic Alora's here as well. Why do I look like a new dad playing pirate dress up? Probably because I'm wearing a One Piece hat and a cigarette branded t-shirt.
Are you saying that pirates are bad? Look, we might be
pirates are obviously the good guys. Have you seen One Piece? I mean, what's the alternative? The Authority? The East India Trading Company? I don't think so, bud. Oh, well, anyway, there's that to say. But yes, it's Rush News. It's rapid updates of stories in a hurry. And we are in a big hurry today because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stories. 2 of them were going to be the main event, but I decided to do the Ubisoft thing. So we're going to go through all of them, starting with Dragon Age Veilguard. Ryan, I thought I'd start with this because I know it's a subject very close to your balls. And
yeah, the last piece of entertainment that hasn't been completely butt-fucked by wokeness is about to die, folks.
That is a very much a matter of opinion, I fear. Dragon Age the Veilguard is almost upon us. When does it actually come out? Do you know?
Halloween 2024, October the 31st, 2024.
All right, so we got what, about 5 weeks, 6 weeks until that's out. Well, according to I believe it was Dr. Disaster, actually. I must get in touch with him somehow. I'd like to have a chat, get him on one of our shows.
He usually I think he usually keeps to himself.
Oh, really? Oh, well, that's fair enough. Well, when a man decides to adopt a persona with a mask, it's usually for a reason. That's fair enough.
Hypnotic.
Well, yeah, but he hosts the show that brought us all together, so you never know, really, do you? Anyway,
drunk 3PO, all of them.
They're all drunk 3PO, yeah. Everyone with that kind of voice. Well, there you go. Anyway, the rumor has it that Dragon Age the Veilguard is not doing very well in the old pre-orders department. You might even say, quote unquote, they are piss poor.
No.
Yes, that is a quote from a quote, actually. John F. Trent has the story. A new rumor claims that Dragon Age the Veilguard retail sales are quote unquote piss poor in the wake of a newly released hands-on preview trailer that was panned by gamers. Well, are we surprised? I mean, they look at what they've done to this game. I mean, it's gone full woke. Yeah. I mean, it's basically, who can I fuck the simulator? You know? An answer is absolutely everyone, regardless of what species or sex or alleged sexuality they may or may not be. And it just, I mean, everything's overblown now. I heard a thing the other day that was something along the lines of every time there's a new game, a new creative director comes in and throws out the last guy's work and starts from scratch. I mean, okay, the dwarves still look like Dragon Age dwarves, but there's an element of this that's just gone and it's never coming back, and that seems to be the Majesty, that kind of that idea that there was a through line plot that was being established that would last several games, and no, it's just been all over the place for ages now, and I don't know what to say about it. But Dr. Disaster seems to. He said in his video, I have an acquaintance in the retail world, someone who runs 9 stores that sell video games, and I'm hearing that these ratios that we're seeing in damn near every video released for Dragon Age the Veilguard, these ratios are correlating with piss poor pre-sales data. People are not connecting with the Veilguard because Dragon Age games are supposed to be dark and gritty, and this just looks completely soft.
Yes.
I mean, it's an entirely new creative direction. I mean, you talk about, new creative projects coming in and their leads chucking out, the previous direction. Well, that's happened with this project 3 times, just for this project, for the successor to Inquisition. I mean, it was originally it didn't have a name. They spent 3 years on it. It was like a live service, sort of like a spy game within Tevinter, set in the Tevinter Imperium. Then they decided to chuck that out because live service games were a disaster. They saw the success of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and decided, we're going to make this a single player thing. We're going to remove the live action elements. We're going to focus on the Dreadwolf as the main adversary, Solas, and then we'll call it Dragon Age Dreadwolf. And that was the direction, I believe, from, I'd say, 2020, 2021, around that era, late 2010s, early 2020s. And then they decided to chuck that out in favor of something else entirely, and focus away from the Dreadwolf, who was the big bad in Dragon Age Inquisition's Trespasser DLC, was one of the former companions who stabbed you in the fucking back. And we're now going to focus on the Veilguard. So not him, but the folks he's unleashing, because he wants to free his people, and in doing so, he has to destroy the world to do so. So that's going to be the focus. And it's an entirely different direction from where it was going. You could say it's a massive bait and switch, but that project, the Veilguard project, has only been going for a few years. It's been 10 years we've been waiting for a successor to Dragon Age Inquisition. Yes, 10 years.
My God, has it really been that long?
Yeah, Inquisition was originally released in November of
2014.
Yeah, around that figure. It was a cross-platform game between the generations.
That adds up, actually, because I do remember I got a very particular Christmas present that year, and I was sketching pictures of Dragon Age Inquisition, and that was the same year. So, yeah, that was 10 years ago. Far. Just a random personal memory there.
And then from from 2015 to 2018, they were focusing on this live service project, and then they chucked it out. And then for a good 3 to 4 years, they were focusing on the Dreadwolf project as Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Then they chucked that out. And then for the past few years now, I'd say 2.5 years, they've been focusing on this Veilguard project. So this is the third iteration of Dragon Age 4. And I think it's going to be a disaster. This would have been a great idea, the idea of the Veilguard, for a 5th game.
Yeah,
but this would have been a better idea for a side game. Maybe plot wise, it would have been better for a 5th game. Gameplay wise, you're basically making a mobile version of Dragon Age, and even right down to the graphics, everything is laid out like it's a phone game. Everything, the ridiculous amount of like bright colored lights on the screen. It's like, where's the blood? Where's the gore? Where's, it's a dark fantasy. It's a crying damn shame. I reckon when this game comes out, the smart thing to do would be stream Dragon Age Origins.
Or 2, or Awakening,
or Inquisition.
Or Inquisition, or the various DLCs for Inquisition. They didn't even have the no the know-how to actually have us take on the Dreadwolf, because we've been waiting nearly a decade to take on the motherfucker. But no, they're going to almost completely skip that entire story and have right at the start of this game confronting the Dreadwolf, opening up the veil. He opens up the veil, but it goes wrong. The game trailer pointed that out. And these two fucking, they might as well be chaos beings from Warhammer 40k at this point, and they're going to be the big bad for, you know, fighting in the Veil Guard. So I think this game would have been a great idea as the 5th game, but they've completely skipped over the Dreadwolf arc, and I think that is a damn shame. And I think this will be the last Dragon Age.
Yeah, I think it will too, unless something drastically different happens. The consensus seems to be that out of 9 shops or something that Dr. Disaster's friend runs, there is not a single pre-order for Dragon Age Veilguard. So, I mean, it's just been a cursed development with a bunch of people just going completely and utterly over the top with DEI. It's everything that could have gone wrong has gone wrong. This game is pretty much toast as soon as it comes out. I don't think it's very likely that this is going to be a success. In fact, actually, I am so sure that it's not going to be likely that I have created a little game for this episode of WTF Live that I haven't told you guys about yet, because I wanted it to be a bit of a surprise. And just a second while I get it set up. Yes, we're going to be playing a game where we try to work out the likelihood of something happening against the likelihood of something else happening. And I'm calling it Diddy Didn't Do Himself. So we're going to get the Didiometer up on the screen here for a second so that we can decide whether Dragon Age Veilguard being a success is more likely or less likely than Diddy surviving to see his own trial. Given that he's now been refused bail for $50 million, I'm thinking it's all a little familiar, isn't it? A certain island owner that sort of just suddenly took the easy way out, allegedly. And I don't know, something tells me we might be seeing history repeat itself a little bit. So what do you guys reckon? Do you reckon it's more likely that Dragon Age Veilguard is a success than Diddy lives to see his trial?
I think it's more likely. I mean, a black person being killed in jail, I mean, that's a guarantee, isn't it? I'll be right back.
He's in a private cell, but probably a broken camera.
Yeah, I'd definitely say more likely.
So it's more likely
to survive jail.
Okay, you're saying this is more likely that it will survive rather than he will.
Yeah, because people will buy it anyway.
But it's not going to happen. Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, all right. How much more likely? Like really likely, or like sort of same amount of likeliness, or
I'd say right in the middle.
Right in the middle. Okay. So it's got about the same survivability rate as Diddy has. Okay. What do you reckon, Ryan? He says it should be in the middle. What do you say?
I personally think I think a lot of people, especially in our space, underestimate just how many Dragon Age fans out there were just desperate to play a new Dragon Age game. I mean, it was, for a time, toe-to-toe with Mass Effect. It was forgotten, mainly within that 10-year period I talked about earlier. Why? Witcher 3. That's why. I mean, before The Witcher 3 came out, Dragon Age Inquisition was the example of an action-adventure role-playing game with that storyline element, and then The Witcher 3 blew it out of the water the year after. A lot of people have been waiting for this project. I think it's more likely it will succeed than some people give it credit for.
Really?
Mostly because people have been waiting for so long.
Okay.
Then the other thing is that most people don't know that the game might actually have more of a female-centric perspective to it. Because there has been commentary about that. Most people just buy it because they like the franchise, but they won't be thinking anything else about it type thing.
And we also have to remember, folks, the most financially successful game BioWare has ever made is Dragon Age Inquisition. And it's actually by quite a margin as well. I mean, it made even more money than Mass Effect 3, despite all the hype around Mass Effect 3 and, of course, the piss-poor ending to that game. So I think BioWare expect this game to be a success. But given the current year and the current conditions, this will probably be BioWare's most successful game since Inquisition. Why? Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem, both of which.
So you're saying,
yeah,
whereabouts shall I put it then?
Yeah,
like really likely or sort of?
I think it's
likely?
more likely. I think the danger is, folks, for BioWare is that content creation is a lot more powerful now than it was 10 years ago. And if this game is wank, you bet your ass content creators are going to focus on it. If this game is a great success, then I personally believe most.
So where am I putting it?
I'd say more likely.
Like how far? Like all the way to the edge?
Right next to Diddy's mouth. That's where he likes to put it.
All right, there we go. Right, perfect. Thank you very much. All right, we got a lot more to get through, so we'll get back to the story. We'll be back with the Diddy-ometer later to assess how likely other things are to happen. But in the meantime, we have got another rumor that I wanted to address, or an opinion piece that I started thinking about when I saw it. And that is basically the fate of the PS5 Pro and how it pertains, or how rather GTA 6 pertains to it. Because our boy here, Nicola Pipe, I don't fucking know, wants to say that it's basically saying that if Grand Theft Auto 6 was to partner up with PlayStation and possibly even do a bundle console, like, sorry, this is bounding into comics being janky as hell. I have to put it in reader mode. You know, like they did with the PS4 with Grand Theft Auto 5, even though that came out for the PS3 originally. Well, do you think that this is actually likely? No. Effectively, what's being said is that it would actually save the PS5 Pro if there was a bundle with GTA 6.
Absolutely not, because there's already so much coming out about GTA 6, and it would just be seen as an easy marketing tool to use it that way. But GTA 6 is also as broken as... I mean, it's not even in a fit state to be released yet alone.
When's it set to come out? Late 2025. So we've got a year yet, at least.
Unless they extend it again, which they might.
By which point?
I think they're shit scared of releasing it because there is a lot in that game which is very modern audience.
Well, if you wait, the problem is, and I think we've seen this a lot with various companies, is that a game can do too well. I mean, there are two of the worst positions you find yourself in as a creator. Completely bombs or does incredibly well. Those are the two worst positions you are in as a creator. Because if it bombs, of course, that's a massive embarrassment. Your reputation goes down. But if it's such a remarkable success, you can't really move on from it and improve upon it too much, because it would just be the same project over again. I mean, this is Ubisoft's big problem, and this was BioWare's big.
They've got bigger problems now.
I mean, when you create something too good, people will just stick with it. Skyrim is living proof of that concept.
So it was released on everything. You could play that on your kettle.
And the problem with GTA 6 is, how do you improve on a game, GTA 5, which is almost fantastic on every level, even its online component now is
all you can do is make another one with slightly better graphics. Well, probably quite considerably better graphics, actually, because GTA 5 looks nice, but it could look better. So, you know, there's that, I guess. But and people really want to go back to Vice City. I mean, I'm 39 now, and I was 18 when Vice City came out. So, or 17 or something. That's how long it's been since Vice City. So 20 plus years. People really want to go back to Vice City. And the trailer wasn't the trailer didn't make me like it didn't signal any real alarm bells for me that it was going to be hyper woke. It looked more like it could easily be taking the piss. And so I could see how they might be biding their time and sort of hoping that Gamergate wins quickly so that it becomes more acceptable to release a game that roasts the ever-loving shit out of the woke and also the chuds. I don't mind all that shit. You know, I don't mind being roasted if everyone's being roasted. You know, it doesn't bother me. Although I don't think I've ever been roasted by a Grand Theft Auto game before.
I think
I wasn't
thing
political when 5 came out.
Well, the thing is about GTA 6, I saw the trailer for it and I thought it was perfectly fine. It reminded me of modern day America. But through a hyper-focused analysis of the trailer, it had lots of little things wrong with it. And it then reminded me of another game that had lots of little things wrong with it, which made it an absolute disaster. That was Starfield. Nothing completely wrong with the project, but lots of little things.
I mean, that's true of most Bethesda games, but Rockstar generally doesn't have that issue. I think they tend to let, like, they now they're in the position. They are so very in the position to make you wait 10 years, as they have, 11 years actually, since GTA 5. And they know that they can probably release one every 15 years and people will still lap it up. The question, though, is whether it could be used, and this is where I get very irritated because I am so completely done with exclusivity deals, sick and tired of them. So if the PS5 Pro wanted to leverage GTA 6 to sell systems, then an exclusivity deal would have to happen, which is what he's speculating about here, because it says Sony and Rockstar have a long-standing relationship, so potentially they could do it again like they did with the PS4. But then it also says later the PC version is nowhere to be seen and won't arrive until months, if not years, after the console release. Now, I have no idea how the hell he claims to know that. For all I know, they could release, day and day, which they absolutely should. Because at this point, to ignore the massive increase in people abandoning consoles, including me, lifelong PlayStation guy, PlayStation and Nintendo guy, now PC and Nintendo guy, it would be really dumb not to take advantage of PC. You would have a much bigger install base if you only released it for PC.
Yeah.
Well, no matter how great a game is, folks, no matter how great a creator is, one man cannot stand against the void. One game does not make a generation of consoles. I personally don't see Rockstar committing to such an alliance because they don't need it. Sony need it. So if they are to set up this alliance, it will be for the benefit of Rockstar over Sony.
Well, Rockstar would stand to lose, surely, because they would have to go exclusive.
And they can't afford to do that, as is.
Yeah, I mean, Sony would have to pay them through the nose to get an exclusivity deal for GTA 6. So I don't know.
And then they would also have all that question about whether or not they do take it in a woke direction or not, whether they can afford to carry on with the current plans. And if you ignore the PC market, you might as well just quit the project straight away, because
you could say that of various great games that are exclusive to the PC market, because it is 50-50 at this point, Darby, between console gamers overall and PC gamers overall.
Yeah, indeed. So where are we at then? Grand Theft Auto 6 saves the PS5 Pro. More likely or less likely to happen than Diddy seeing his own trial? Less likely?
A lot less.
Wow.
A lot, right. Way over there.
Okay, so we really don't believe that's going to actually happen. No. Okay, that's fair enough.
Diddy's not having a good day today.
Well, I mean, he's not had a good day for a few months now, really, has he? Ever since that video came out. Chat saying less as well, yeah. All right, fair enough. Okay, the didiometer. See, the didiometer is a fantastic measurement device. I'm really glad I came up with it about half an hour before the stream and had to cobble this thing together very, very quickly indeed. But it seems to be working. So yeah, always experimenting with new ways to entertain you. Hit like if you're enjoying the show.
Showing a black man awkwardly close to a noose. Well done, Will. You're
job,
embracing reality based.
I knew you'd love that. I know. I knew it would be horrifyingly inappropriate, but I also thought it would be funny because it's one of those things where, okay, the situation revolving around him at the moment is utterly awful and disgusting and monstrous. And some are saying, and I'm not sure whether to agree or not, that it could be worse than Epstein. So there's that. On the other hand, what am I supposed to do with this information? I can't, not laugh at it. I mean, it's horrifyingly similar. And if he does suddenly show up, no longer present, then all it does is basically tell us that we were right about Epstein. So there's that. All right, then. The next thing we want to talk about, we've got a quick one here. We're just going to basically do all of these in a few minutes each. So the next thing is a Star Wars thing. Yeah, it's a last minute edition, really. I just wanted to know what you guys think, and I'm sure I won't have time by the next show. So Jon Favreau wants to basically use the Mandalorian and Grogu to get the band back together, presumably using deep fakes.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to with Carrie Fisher
That's
anyway, right?
Never going to work because you have a lot of people who are very staunchly anti using the sort of deep fake.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, a lot of people see it as disrespectful. A lot of people are very angry about Peter Cushing. They're getting sued for that at the moment, apparently, because they didn't actually acquire the rights to use his likeness in Rogue One. So there's all kinds of problems there. And so the question is not whether or not they can do it or whether they're allowed to do it. It's actually Harrison Ford. Turns out Harrison Ford apparently is not up for having himself digitally added to another Star Wars movie.
Oh.
Well,
presumably because he doesn't. Go on.
No, they treated him like shit in the Indiana Jones movie. They've treated him like shit in Star Wars before. When you see Han Solo getting killed, it's like this idea of turning him into a deadbeat dad. So you can see why he's not happy with it, because I think he's done at this point.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, if I had been playing a character for 5 movies and at the end of the 5th one, I get unceremoniously smacked in the face by some upstart feminist bitch, and that's the ending for me, I'd probably never come back. Yeah, probably wouldn't be up for that.
I think Harrison Ford has been sick and tired of Star Wars since the mid-'80s.
He's been sick and tired of Star Wars since they were making it. I mean, there's that famous quote where he basically threatened to like tie George Lucas up and force him to read his own dialogue. That was one thing that I heard. The other was the famous quote where he said, "George, you can write this shit, but you can't say it." Like actually say it while you're writing it, because it's gibberish, Anyway, Favreau isn't best pleased. He says, folks, we can't confirm this yet, but it comes from a source that's been right over and over and over to the point it's getting ludicrous. The snag seems to be, guys, Harrison Ford. And yes, people are right. Juman's right in the chat, says that he wanted to die. Yeah, he did. He wanted to get killed off. He was vying for it from A New Hope onwards. He really wanted Lucas to kill him off in the carbon freeze.
That's why Lando was wearing his clothes at the end of Empire Strikes Back. True. I think Lando was supposed to be like his replacement or something.
That's it, exactly. Surprisingly, Harrison Ford, we are told, does not like whatever this plan is, Pro said. This is WDW Pro, of course. They're already into filming. It was supposed to be CGI, so Ford's not really needed, but he still has to sign off. And we're hearing word that he may not be a fan of putting the idea of the original characters together for some sort of CGI resurrection. Maybe, I mean, there's a million reasons why. One, it would be him, it would be more Han Solo, who he fucking hates.
Yeah.
Maybe it's out of respect to Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
I mean, he did date her. which is a bit weird because she was like 19 and he was 35. But
welcome to Hollywood.
Doing it Philippine style.
It's method acting, Will. You've got to understand it's true method acting. But in all seriousness, compare that to Harrison Ford's role as Red Hulk in Captain America, whatever the fuck they're calling it now, because that's probably what they should name it. And he's willing to CGI up for that to become Red Hulk. So it just goes to show he's far more sympathetic to projects that he's into. And we have to remember
it's not a Disney thing then. It's
because the character he's playing was originally played by another older guy who sadly passed away. So he had to fill in that role. So I think he takes that more seriously because that character did have a role in the MCU when it was good. I think it was in Captain America Civil War. I forgot the character's name off the top of my head, but he's the one who says, "Sign the fucking forms, or we're putting you in a prison." to the
Thunderbolt Ross.
Yes.
Oh right, yeah, the one from it was the version from the Edward Norton Hulk, right?
Yes.
Yep. Well, he's playing that character or someone like him, isn't he?
Yes, he's playing that character. Yeah, the character was recast because the original guy sadly died.
Oh, that's a shame. While we're on the subject of Star Wars, Eris Rhoda has chimed in with £5. Thank you very, very much. Says DEI Star Wars / Back to the Future crossover. The I don't need no man DeLorean.
I really wouldn't.
Thank you, Eris Rhoda. Appreciate the punishment there, and very nice. I think I would probably shit a chicken. I'd probably go nuclear on a level no one's ever seen before if they started messing around with Back to the Future. My like sort of emotional favorite movie ever. Like it's
Dobby, can you hear Will properly, or is that just me?
He's choppy.
Am I?
You are, yeah.
Better now.
With my brand new microphone, it better not be.
You do sound fine now. It's just the last sentence you sounded a bit muffled.
Oh, it might be the internet, but I don't think so. It's been okay today. There was a bit of a blip yesterday, but it's okay. Am I okay now?
Yes.
Yeah, you're fine.
Right. Chat, am I all right? Better tell me. I can leave and come back if not. Underwater? Let me hear this.
Yeah, it did sound like you were under. I was like, what? What's Will saying? But now, thankfully, you sound better now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm fine now. Yeah, okay, great. So then, well, let's see. What do I have for Star Wars and whether or not anything happens? Did I include this one? I don't know. I can't remember if I did or not. I think I might have forgotten that one. So, oh well, we'll skip that and we'll move on to the next topic. Then this has all been cobbled together in a hurry, as always. This is what happens.
This is how we roll.
That's what happens when you do everything yourself. You make like all your own videos, all your own thumbnails, and you make 21 videos and 3 live streams a week all by yourself. Yeah, that's busy work. Love it. I love what I do. So here's another one. It's back to Sweet Baby Inc. then, and this is their new game, which I don't know if you heard about it a few months ago. I don't know if we talked about it. Unknown 9 Awakening.
What the fuck?
Yeah, this is one that we've known about for a few months now. It's a game.
I didn't think it was serious.
It's a DEI game. It's a Sweet Baby Inc. game. The question really is whether this will actually be anything. Sweet Baby Inc. Infected Unknown 9 Awakening reportedly has poor pre-orders and atrocious Steam wishlist ranking. Yeah.
That's because people are sick and tired of this shit. They're sick and tired of having their message in absolutely everything. Where, you know, there's no storytelling, there's nothing. It's just pushing across a rhetoric, which is total bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, it is just. I mean, this is. I don't know what their involvement is with this game, Reflector Entertainment, but it's widely known. I mean, I didn't even know the name Reflector Entertainment. I only knew Sweet Baby Inc. So, whether that's a result of Gamergate or just them being the biggest source of marketing for the game. I don't know.
Notice who's publishing the game, folks.
Bandai Namco, yeah.
That is a worrying sign. Because if they've got that kind of influence to get a company as reputable as Bandai Namco to publish this project, then they may just have a finger in that pie. And if they can infest other projects involved with Bandai Namco, that's Dark Souls era games completely fucked. And believe me, they will find a way to fuck them up.
Apparently, there are only 27 copies of this game pre-ordered.
20.
That's more than Dustborn.
Yeah,
it certainly is. Yeah. Oh dear! It was Dr. Disaster once again who said that there was no pre-order for this game. That was it. Yeah. 9 retail stores and told that there isn't a single pre-order for Unknown 9. Damn. Nothing whatsoever.
I remember the last time we put our journalistic faith in a man in a mask who looked like a supervillain. Didn't really end well for us, but to each their own.
I think also people are now waking up to the fact that we are right and these companies are fundamentally wrong.
It's not that difficult, Dobby. You see Sweet Baby Inc. involved in any project, even if it's to make a toaster, and you know, dead on arrival, it's going to fail, it's not going to work, because we have this thing called pattern recognition. And it is a great way of debunking those who say correlation doesn't equal causation. Well, pattern recognition exists, motherfucker. And if
even animals,
exactly, and that's how the animal kingdom functions as well. They know what works and they know what doesn't, because if it doesn't work, you die.
Yeah.
I'd even argue that rational brain function, like higher brain function, actually only serves to get in the way of what would otherwise be more flawless pattern recognition.
But we do know that anything and anyone involved with Sweet Baby Inc. is compromised.
Yep.
And any company that is involved with them or has people that were once employed by them is compromised. It should be like a stamp you put on your fucking forehead, which I managed to do for the trannies involved in Trans of the Shire. Just have the trans symbols stamped on their fucking foreheads.
Nah. Demons, like demons.
And the same applies for Sweet Baby Inc. Every project they are involved in is a disaster, and it needs to be condemned, and that's why they've gone to ground.
Yeah. I mean, they've had a disastrous year. Not as bad as Ubisoft, though, I'd argue. I mean, yeah, they still can function basically because they function in shadow anyway. So just having to private their social media accounts really hasn't stopped them whatsoever, and they'll continue their grift as long as they bloody can. It's only a matter of time until someone comes along and tries to make a Matt Walsh style documentary called Gamergate.
I just find it,
maybe I'll do it.
I just find it very interesting, Will, that there are some creators among us who want to take our foot off the gas, to use an American term, and to slow down and to take a more gradualistic, more reformist approach to popular culture and gaming, just as we've got these motherfucking companies like SBI, like Ubisoft. We got them in the throat, folks. We got them. They're bleeding out, and they're struggling to survive. And there are still those out there who want to take a more moderate approach to things. It's not going to work. You give the opposition the benefit of the doubt, they will grab your neck and wrestle you to the ground.
Absolutely right. Yeah. It's one of those situations where, you know, this company's name is synonymous with utter filth, utter dirt, utter cancer, utter
the god of death, Sweet Baby Inc.
It's like Nurgle's Plague Marines. Like, you know, if you see the Sweet Baby logo anywhere near
on a
something,
mile,
it is radioactive beyond any approach whatsoever. No one will touch it. No one will. The other DEI consultancy companies only stand even a scant bigger chance than Sweet Baby Inc. because we don't know about them yet. But the ones we do know about, they instantly go on a list You can check a game. People do use DEI detected. They do use SPI detected. And we all talk to each other on X. It's like I said when Gamergate 2 started again. Good. We can get organized. We'll all be a united front again, like it was in 2014. But this time, we're not scared of being called racist or sexist. We're immune. We've come back. And this time, we're not remotely, affected by the best that they can do. That's why they're getting desperate. That's why we're seeing smear campaigns.
I mean, we're immune to that, Will, because in a sense, we have, in our own ways as content creators, embraced the terms they label us as. I mean, the idea of the bigot army, the idea of using the dangerous words that
I'm going to play the thing. I'm going to play the thing.
And we develop new words as well that are even more heinous, like the one I developed that was so potent and so toxic it would demonetize creators like that. The Thanos snap of bigotry.
Start with
we need to.
Nah, demons, like demons.
The point is, though, folks, our opposition are on the retreat. And instead of pulling back and being more moderate, we need to go all out. We need to push things to the extreme. We need to embrace the Griff force. We need to stand by the bigot army, because only by radicalizing our best attributes can we succeed one creator at a time and inspire new generations of content creators to do the same thing as well. The days of the moderates are over, folks. The days of going on to get along with these fucking egregious bastards like Sweet Baby Inc. are over. It's us or them. And I want to be the victor. I want to write the history books. And I want to call them a bunch of fucking names on Wikipedia. How about that, you sons of bitches?
Yeah, there you go. It is that is really the only thing they've got left, is the fact that they still, through legacy, have control over most of the big platforms. There is no alternative that's really widely used to Wikipedia, and there should be. There's no real Rotten Tomatoes alternative either. Yes, there's Metacritic. Yes, there's OpenCritic and things like that, but it's not got the same clout as Rotten Tomatoes. We need to develop these sites that cannot be infiltrated.
Fresh Bananas, founded by Atreus, his movie review website. Fresh Bananas,
green bananas. Jesus.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. There you go. Yeah, but what do we think then? Do we think that Sweet Baby Inc. is going to get any kind of different result from this game, or are we looking at the definition of insanity?
We're looking at definition of insanity.
So Unknown 9 Awakening turns things around for SBI more or less likely than Diddy making it to his own trial.
How far left can you go in regards to this, ladies?
I can always move this one in a bit and oh shit, I moved the whole thing. I can always move this one in a bit and put this, far further left than Alyssa McCante.
Maybe you can go.
Maybe put it on the noose because it's hanging itself.
Jesus.
Well, yeah, but the noose represents his fate, so it would be then more likely. All right, but I'll put it like that then. So Unknown 9 Awakening is definitely, like, unequivocally not going to happen whatsoever. There's no chance whatsoever that this will actually be any kind of success. Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined rather to agree with that. Yeah, I don't think for a second that this is going to make any difference whatsoever to Sweet Baby Inc.'s reputation or anything associated with them. They're fucked. Everything they do is. So there you go. There's that. And with that said, on to the next thing, and that would be the first of what were going to be the top stories tonight, and that would be the Square Enix problem. And that is the fact that they keep releasing these bloody big games. Square Enix president reveals Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, 2 PlayStation 5 exclusives, by the way,
and this
did
goes
not
back,
meet profit expectations.
this goes back to what we were talking about. There's more market in the PC world than there is for the actual consoles at the minute. So why are they releasing it just for the consoles? Doesn't make any sense.
I mean, Square Enix came out in May or so and announced that they were no longer going to be doing exclusivity deals. They said they were going to work on quality over quantity as well, which surprised me because they don't release like that many in-made games. You know, they tend to release lots of games publishing wise. Yeah, sure. But the ones they actually make themselves is like once every couple of years, you know? So the fact that we've had 2 Final Fantasies back to back is, you know, kind of surprising. But I guess they got the answers all wrong, of course. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they released Foam Stars and Final Fantasy, whatever Foam Stars was. I don't think I even remember what that game was. I don't know. I genuinely can't remember. And so there you go.
Must have been really good then.
Yeah, right. FF7 Rebirth, on the other hand, that made a lot of noise, but all it really did was piss people off.
And then, of course, you have all the things with Final Fantasy 14 and Boubacmt. You know, ATD.
I mean, I haven't even got to Boubacmt yet because I've been so busy. I haven't been able to play FF14 for like 3 weeks, but I will get to it. Wouldn't know. I mean, everyone I know says don't worry about that. That's not really a big problem. It's kind of like how people tried to say that Space Marine 2 was going to be woke because there was a black Space Marine. It's like, yeah, but there's one and it doesn't come up. So it's not woke. It's not about that. You know, you can tell these things. Hey, Newbin, what's up? And yeah, so they had an operating loss of 8.1 billion yen. Or $5.7 million, which actually doesn't sound that bad. But, I mean, did you see, like, the people playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? I remember watching Hypno's final stream of it, and he was furious. He was beside himself when he saw what they did with the Aerith death thing, and they, like, split it into 2 realities, where she's alive or where she's dead. It's like, why can't you just tell the same damn story? And I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen because I could see it from what they did to the first one. That's why I wasn't rushing out to buy a PS5 for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You would think that someone who's as big a fan of Final Fantasy VII as I am, it's like my other favorite game besides Ocarina. And, you know, I would have rushed out and bought that if I thought it was going to be good. I would have dropped money on a PS5 easily.
I know that Final Fantasy 16 was recently released on Steam.
It is, yeah.
So it is. I do believe both projects were timed exclusives rather than permanent ones. But you look at the state of Square Enix. I think with the 2 projects they planned, Final Fantasy 16 and the latest Final Fantasy 7, which is I think part 2 of 3. They were supposed to be like, you know, 1-2 punches to get the company back on track, and they haven't done that, folks. So they are on the retreat. They're going to have to cut costs. They are going to have to prioritize if they are to have a sustainable future. So I don't see a Final Fantasy 17 on the cards. And in regards for the third project revolving the remakes of Final Fantasy.
Probably.
They're going to have to pull
reunion, I guess.
Yeah, they're going to have to pull out all the stops to ensure that project is a success. Otherwise, Square and Enix are going to fall together.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't. I don't see how they can wrap up Final Fantasy 7 in 3 anyway. I mean, they got to the end of disc 1 of the original game in 2 games.
Oh,
that's it. Disc 2 is not as long as disc 1, but it's not much shorter. And then disc 3 is very short. It's just the finale, but it also includes all of the world. Like every location is available on that disc for you to go back to explore and do all of the mini games and everything. So you've got all of the gold saucer, you've got all of the chocobo breeding, you've got the entire world map. Every location in the entire game is accessible, plus the northern crater and all of the final cutscenes and stuff associated with the final battle against Sephiroth. So I'd say that the halfway point is probably the end of disc 1, maybe slightly more than the halfway point. So you're telling me they've got to shove just as much game into the next installment? I just don't see how they're going to pull it off.
Was it confirmed as a 3-parter?
I don't know. Yeah, apparently. It's been I think announced that it would be done in 3 parts, yeah. But I don't get it because there's still so very, very much that needs to happen in the second disc and beyond. And then to be able to visit the entire world again freely at the end to wrap up all the side missions, they're going to have to drastically change the way that works and nerf your ability to free roam the world by the end of the 3rd game if they're going to do that. So again, it's not going to be Final Fantasy 7, and again, I'm not fucking interested. I want Final Fantasy 7 remake.
I also find it interesting of where they take Final Fantasy from here, because if they ever do make a 17, because every game it's like an anthology. It does have some things in common, but it is essentially a different game.
It's a different universe every time.
Yeah. I just find that very interesting that Square and Enix together have managed to sustain Final Fantasy, I think, since 15, because it's been on the rocks since 15 in terms of, how it's been performing. Hello, Will. We can get a good look at you now.
I don't know what I pressed there. I thought I was typing a chat.
Oh, my.
Anyway, yeah, so ultimately, I don't think that they're actually going to be able to convince anybody that this gets better. On the other hand, if they are going to eat a bit of crow and acknowledge that their, bloated quad A developments and exclusivity deals with PlayStation have done nothing but cause them misery and money lost, then maybe they will do something about that. And if they do something about that, then they have a chance at getting things to turn around.
But right now, everything's going downhill.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why my question... Go on, Ryan.
I was just going to say, I know Final Fantasy VII was one of, if not the great game of Final Fantasy. But if you are going to do this sort of remake style for your projects, wouldn't it make more sense to start off with, like, the first one?
Yeah.
Then the second one, if you're going to really remake
the first one doesn't have anywhere near the popularity. People were literally asking for Final Fantasy VII Remake for 10 years.
Oh.
So, yeah. But I know what you mean. But no. Because the first one is... You've probably never played it, right?
No.
The first one doesn't have characters.
Yeah, I've never played Final Fantasy. Ever.
Really? Oh my god.
We've got to change that then. He's never seen Red Dwarf and he's never played Final Fantasy. Dude.
That's why when Hypno and Will and Woods speak...
I was watching fucking Red Dwarf and playing Final Fantasy VII. That was me as a 12-year-old.
I have no frame of reference for the world you lived in, Will. Just like none.
We got to remember, he's still like 25.
Oh, damn. But I will say,
he was
though...
-2 when I was 12, so there's that.
-2, Jesus. But in all seriousness, folks, I personally, in terms of, remaking projects, if you are going to remake projects and bring them into the standards and to the quality that we expect from gaming today, you start with the beginning and then continue onwards. Because what are they going to do after they finish remaking Final Fantasy VII? Are they going to go to 8 or 6
no.
or
maybe
12?
6?
I don't know.
I'd play 6 if they did it as the game was. I mean, because right, Final Fantasy VII is an RPG. I know, right? Shock horror. But you must have at least seen a screenshot of it from time to time, right? The original.
Yeah, it looks like a a nice 3D PlayStation 1 game.
Yeah, but if you actually, when you're actually running around in the overworld, you're running around in a sequence of 2D backgrounds that have been, painted, and then you're playing as 3D characters walking around in that. So hang on, let me see if I can get on the screen because it drives me nuts. 1 second. Okay, there we go. So this is like when Cloud falls through the church roof, and you can see this is a pre-rendered background with 3D characters running around on it. And then the graphics would change when you were in a battle scene, for example. You'd have a much more detailed model of the characters, etc., etc., etc. But the point is, I wanted exactly the same game with random battles that interrupt you running around the overworld. All I wanted was better graphics and better music and updated music. That's it. If they had effectively released one of like what people have done to the game with just mods, like people modding the game, you can see like here, someone's made a mod of that with a more realistically proportioned model for Cloud.
Yeah,
I would have played that. An updated soundtrack and updated graphics. That's all you had to do. You didn't need to build an entirely new engine. You didn't need to make it. I mean, I love what they did aesthetically. I enjoyed, being able to run around the areas like in Midgar and look up at the sky and see the things that they're describing, like the two-tiered city, a city on top of a disc, and then below it is the slums. You can't really get a feel for that in the original because you're looking down all the time on the characters. But they didn't have to do this. So if they were to remake the game again and just actually do a remaster of Final Fantasy VII, that would be ultimate for me. Like what they've done with 1 through 6 already.
When did Square and Enix come together?
That was right after the movie came out and flopped. So it was early 2000s.
So I'm guessing. I'm guessing now Final Fantasy VII occurred before the union of
that was Squaresoft.
Right. So it just goes to show how much the company has changed since they originally released the game that they're remaking. I mean, I always like to say this in regards to people, but I'm sure Will in 1997 isn't the same as Will in 2024. So of course, Squaresoft is not going to be the same company as it is today.
No, of course not.
And likewise with the project as well. No wonder it got changed. No wonder.
Well, it's the ship of Theseus, isn't it?
Yep.
Eventually everything changes. But yeah, I mean, I just think that you can't recapture it. And I'm right, it was April 2003, by the way, when they merged. So yeah, there you go. So what do we reckon? Is Square Enix going to become profitable next year?
No. Absolutely
Really?
not.
Why not?
It's like one of those battered marriages, Will. They've been married now for 21 years. It's not really working anymore. Maybe we should have a divorce and go our separate
That's a shame because they independently they were both beloved companies. I mean, Square made Final Fantasy, Enix made Dragon Quest, not Dragon Age, and also other games. I remember Illusion of Gaia was an Enix game as well. That was really good. I really enjoyed it. But so anyway, Square Enix becoming profitable next year, more or less likely than Diddy living to see his trial. Less likely?
Yes.
Less likely. All right. Fair enough. So we've got some high hopes for Diddy making it to see justice then, yeah?
Goodness me, no.
Where am I putting it? Close or far?
No, just less likely. But I was going to say in regards to Square Enix is living proof that two good things coming together doesn't exactly make a better thing.
Nope.
Sometimes things are way better going their own way. There are some great results that you can get by bringing great people and great organizations together, but most of the time, only the worst qualities of each prevail, not the best.
And then, of course, they've got one last gamble that they're going to try and pull, which is Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yes. Oh my God! I only saw the trailer for that a couple of days ago. It's astonishing. It's like it's set in like the real world.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre. There's like a normal human city, and then you've got Sora running around. It's like when Mario lands in New Donk City, and there's just normal proportioned people there interacting with Mario.
Who's the bad guy? Donald Trump?
Probably. I mean, you have to look at the companies behind, like Square Enix and
Donald Xehanort. Yeah, Master Donaldus. I don't even know what they can do. I never even played 3. I waited so long for Kingdom Hearts 3 that when it came out, I was like, dude, I hate Disney. You know, screw that. I don't care. Donald, Goofy, you're on your fucking own. Anyway, there you go. So far we've established that Dragon Age Veilguard being a success is the most likely thing to happen out of everything we've suggested.
One thing is certain, Diddy is going to die.
Yeah. He's going to be Diddy.
Everyone dies eventually, buddy. In Diddy Doody Did.
Diddy. There we go.
Diddy did.
Diddy did what Diddy did.
Ibble, dibble, tribble, nibble,
high
dibble,
quality content here on WTF Live, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're enjoying the show. Please feel free to drop us a super chat or join the grift.
Did.
There is definitely
did not.
Did he do it or did he not? Fuck this. Anyway, on to the next thing then, I suppose, which is the fact that we have a bit of a backlash to Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. Did you know about this?
Yeah.
Smash JT made a video about it. I made a video about it. I don't know if it's come out yet. I think it's tomorrow or something. The video.
Guess what? It's not diverse enough.
So basically, Matthew Koch made that comment on the Asmongold reaction to the... Fuck, it gets a bit complicated now, doesn't it? So basically, in the beginning, there was nothing. And then, who was it? Legendary Drops made a video highly praising Space Marine 2 for all the reasons I have, all the reasons everybody else has.
It's a fucking good game. I mean...
Yeah, it's fucking lots of fun. I'd love to play it if I had any time at all. I would love to. And then Asmongold, of course, signal boosted the ever-loving shit out of it. Although Legendary Drops is by no means a small channel. It's got like 100k plus subs, I think. But yeah, Asmongold boosted it into the stratosphere by reacting to it. And in response to that, the CEO of Saber Interactive, the company that produced Space Marine 2, went into the comments section publicly and left this message basically saying he wanted to make a throwback game, and also adding the comment near the end that we referenced the other day where he spent some time as the chief operating officer at Embracer Group and saw games there that made him want to cry with their overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals on gamers. And I don't think we really did justice to how much of a big statement that actually is, because that doesn't happen in such a black and white way as it did then. Game studios never come out overtly and incontrovertibly on Gamergate's side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this would never have happened 4 or 5 years ago. Embracer literally went from nowhere as THQ Nordic, just piecing together the last remnants of THQ. It went from nowhere to absolutely everywhere in the span of like 5 to 10 years, forming the
sweet BlackRock money, huh?
Forming the Embracer Group. And I only really found out about Embracer because my most favorite games company and my least favorite games company, I found out belonged to the same group, and that was THQ Nordic and Deep Silver. Love THQ Nordic, despise Deep Silver, and then I found out, oh shit, they're the same people, and that confused the hell out of me.
What did Nordic put out? I'm trying to think now. Darksiders, right? They did the remaster of... No, they did the original release of it as well, just where they were just THQ. Yeah. It's on the shelf behind me. I could take a look. But
one of the reasons how THQ Nordic rebuilt the legacy of THQ was by reviving what little the company had left from the original.
They lost the WWE contract, didn't they?
Yes.
To 2K.
But all the projects they revived over at THQ Nordic were all good projects. And then they got resources, they got funding, and they ended up buying lots of companies. Deep Silver was one of them, and eventually became the Embracer Group, this massive behemoth of gaming that was so big it had to fail. And for the past few years now, it has been failing quite spectacularly and bleeding out financially as a result. And for one of their former employees, the chief operating officer, that being, the guy who's supposed to keep it all running, for him to have condemned that and to jump ship to somewhere that actually gives a damn about gaming just goes to show how much Embracer has gone from nowhere to everywhere, back to nowhere so quickly.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I feel like if they were running things that way, then they kind of owned themselves with all of this. It's a sort of DEI cancer company, or company cancer, But yeah, so the point is, he made this statement pretty much categorically. There was, no question that was what he meant. He said this absolutely outright. He sided with gamers. He sided with Gamergate. He made it very, very clear where he stands. And that just doesn't happen. They're usually a lot more wishy-washy about that, It's only really Grums who's overtly on our side. I mean, he's so on the side. He's like a general of the organization, But for someone like this to stick their neck out and just say outright, man, I fucking hate DEI. Do you know how much that pissed me off at my old job as COO of Embracer Group? Just to drop that as a damn comment. So impressive. Unfortunately, there was a what was his name? Ethan something or other from Kotaku. Decided that he was going to try and stick it to Gamergate and to Matthew Karch by basically trying to smear this. He was going to verify whether or not it actually was the guy. So I'm going to just get his tweet up on screen, open this, and there he is. So Ethan Gatch, that's it. The problem is that they've both got names that end in CH, so I keep getting them mixed up. Matthew Karch and Ethan Gatch, that's it. And so Gatch says, I asked Saber for comment on if this is really Matt Karch's account or not, since it reads like anti-woke Crusader slop, but I haven't heard back yet. The account was only created in May and the bio reads generic mail of sorts. I mean, how bad faith is that?
Well, yeah, I think you have the answer to why you haven't heard back from the organization, because they want nothing to do with you. I mean, Space Marines 2 has been a confirmed triumph, folks. It has clearly resonated.
It's the biggest selling game on Steam right now. It outpaced Final Fantasy 16.
Well, it's clearly resonating with people, and it just goes to show what it takes to make gaming great again. And this is one of the two big advantages of Asmongold, is that the man can for the most part, sit back, relax, and analyze the situation. Most of the time he gets it right, but when he gets it wrong, he really gets it wrong. And then I call him the Cockroach King, because even he looks more stylish than I do. But the point is, Asmongold is an amplifier, and he really knows how to do that. Gaming is his specialty, and he amplifies those who deserve, the recognition. And thankfully, that amplification has led to this gentleman just letting it all out of what he thinks in a massive paragraph, as you can all see.
Right, yeah. He really has. He's but the point is that Ethan Gatch decided that he would try to use the guise of verifying the authenticity of the comment as a disguise to cover the fact that he basically just wants to stick one to Gamergate and to Matthew Karch and to Space Marine for being a based game that succeeded once again by absolutely telling DEI to go and fuck itself. So then it became, well, how do we know that this is really him? The problem is you actually have to acknowledge that we don't know. We didn't know anyway. We certainly didn't know if it was really him. It could just as easily have been anybody else calling himself that, although oddly specific name to choose. But yeah, fine. Okay. So then we had to wait a while, but then something happened, and that was this post here by Ilya Eremiv on LinkedIn. And I've noticed a couple of times today that LinkedIn has become a bit of a battleground for this shit. So he posted how very pleased he was to see this comment, and Matthew Karch responded on his LinkedIn page saying, "Whoever wrote that seems pretty sharp."
Bit of self-praise there.
Yeah, Kotaku gets owned yet again by their own damn hubris. It just keeps happening. It happens all the time. You love to see it. So do we think that Kotaku will ever get a win against Space Marine 2?
Hell no.
Is it more likely or less likely than Diddy surviving to his own trial?
Less likely.
You really, all these things, yeah. Okay. It can't be that much less likely, though. I mean, surely,
Keep going, Will.
Keep going.
Keep going till it's off the screen. That's how less likely it is. Oh.
Okay. There you go. I put it sideways. There you go. All right, there we go. Cool. And the last thing we have to talk about before we get to Ubisoft is the fact that there is a new challenger approaches.
Oh.
There's a new bitch in town.
Oh.
A new pretender to the Alyssa Mercante throne of
Another lesbian.
Absolute countryside. And that would be this woman who showed up called
keep her back. No,
Marina Diaz, although her actual name is Marina Diaz Pereiro or something like that.
That thing ain't fucking Latino. What is it with these fuckers pretending to be a
She's
minority
Spanish.
group? Oh,
she is Spanish.
White people
Good
are
job.
born in Spain
Good job,
too.
Brian.
There's another picture of her where she looks quite a bit more Spanish, but yeah, she looks
had
pretty
a
awful
tan.
here. Yeah,
she's.
I don't know what's going on with her hair. Is that a shave job or is she going bald?
No, I think
don't
it's
know.
the lesbian cut. It's where you kind of
God.
like you have to put it one
side
side
shave,
and then you
yeah.
shave the
But
other
I thought the
side.
side shave was supposed to be round the side, not like right on the hairline. That's
God.
just weird. It's very strange.
It's
I don't
called
know
the
why she would
prison
do that.
cut. It's called the book.
Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because you're going to see hypocrisy incarnate here once again, as this lady likes to say, fuck white men and gatekeepers. And she does this quite a lot.
she's
Marina Diaz,
Kind of.
an advisor for, she said white men. She's at least not proclaiming herself to be a man at this point. So. Not
white.
yet.
Are you sure? Judging by her body.
Well, she does seem to have
Really?
kind of a gut, but oh well. Later in this article, she gets her abs out, so there's that.
Oh,
These bitches love to do that. She goes full Mercante. Marina Diaz, who is an advisor for GDC, guys, that
Yeah.
place, you know, the Game Developers Conference, which hasn't really been in the news at all for years, apart from Kim Belair doing her thing and
lesbian
you know,
headquarters.
terror tactics and all of that stuff, telling people to go and terrify their marketing team and all of that, you know.
Theory.
So she
Only-
also owns a little company called Three Girls, One Cup. Three of Cups games. Where she's also the head of strategy for BTF Games. I don't know what BTF stands for, but I
Which
can
is-
guess.
Beat the fuck.
Yeah, beat the fuck. That's
Back
it.
the fuck. I don't know. Blow
Bum
the
the
fuck.
fuck.
Girl, I said, girl, we got to take it to those white men.
burn the feminists. I don't know.
well, from an American's perspective, folks, considering this bitch is Spanish, she's technically Latino, which means in the warped mind of Americans, she is a minority group, despite the fact, as we all know, Spanish people are European and therefore white. They are not a minority group.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's of Roman origin, same as us.
This bitch.
Yeah, she's not so different from a Norman, you know. So there's that. But you know, this is the greatest thing about her. Her most recent quote is "fuck white men and gatekeepers," in a now deleted post, because of course, guys, before lest I forget, she has already protected her account.
Oh no!
So there you get that. GDC, was that in the news when they all screamed at the sky? Was that where they were?
Yeah.
Yes, they were. Okay, so I'm wrong there. I thought that was another thing. Anyway, in a now deleted post, which was shared to X by former World of Warcraft team lead Mark Kern, aka Grums, Diaz wrote on X, "I went from thinking I'm a shitty designer to consult to train teams at one of the biggest games companies in the world. Keep believing in yourself. Keep believing in yourself, guys, and you can do anything. And also, fuck white men and gatekeepers."
Yeah, but I don't want to fuck you, bitch. And I don't want to know what a gatekeeper is.
We're gatekeepers. That's exactly what we are. We're here to kick everybody back out of the industry, lock the gate behind us, and stay inside and keep them out. Gatekeepers. So yeah, that's it. That's why Gamergate has a double meaning. That's why there was a keyhole on the original logo.
I love the way she goes, "Not all white men suck." Bitch, you just said fuck all white men. Like, oh.
Is she a prostitute?
Probably.
She's a prostitute. Anyway, thank you, Simdal. I use that all the time now. Prostitute. I love that.
That's why she got ahead in business, Ryan. She was busy kind of doing a horizontal boogie.
Yeah, she went to the Kamala Harris School of Societal Advancement.
You can do it, ladies. You can climb that mountain on your knees. Yes. Keep believing in yourself. It's just the fact that she says alarmingly, she says something positive immediately followed by something horrible. Like just all the time. So here she's like, I did all this stuff. I went here. She failed upward, basically. And then she says, like, keep believing in yourself, you know? Come on, guys. Keep believing in yourself.
You can
and fuck white men. Just in one sentence. It's like...
No, they
don't understand, do they? They're deranged.
Just change "and" with "by." Keep believing in yourself by fucking white men
and gatekeepers.
And gatekeepers.
If you can't believe in yourself, fuck white men. Yeah, there you go. The reality here, though, is that it's just indicative of the kind of real awful brain rot that happens to these people. They genuinely have been ruined.
Yeah.
By this generation, by their phones, by we need to do a lot better with the next generation. We need to seriously control what they have access to. You need to stop putting the phone in the hands of your freaking toddler. It causes stuff like this. It's ridiculous. I was playing a Game Boy when I was 4 years old or 5 years old, and I turned out reasonably okay. I mean, I'm not doing great. I'm a fucking YouTuber, but you know, I'm not a CEO well, not anymore. But you know,
Will, you couldn't start a piss up at a brewery or
I
a
bet
pub
I fucking could,
or a bar, or
I bet I could drink you under the table.
Hey, I'm not getting involved in this one.
I come from a long line of Scotsmen and jazz musicians. I can drink.
Dobby can't drink because. Well,
anyway, there you go.
Yeah, I can't drink. Not allowed alcohol.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Dobby. Are you allowed, you know, at least a line or you know, a smack up or something you know, shoot something between your toes or up your ass or something? No, nothing.
No.
Oh well. I don't know what you want me to tell you. It's like a tragic thing to say to me. I don't know. Anyway, So anyway, Diaz's comments are unsurprising. Her 3 of Cups Games website describes the company as an ethical, diverse, and inclusive game studio based in London, UK.
So female.
Unless you're a white man, in which case.
So basically, it's an unscrupulous company full of black women, based in London, UK.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, actually, there is a picture. I think coming up later that definitely shows that. So, if you're a white person, they're not an ethical, diverse, and inclusive game studio. If you're a white man, they're an unethical, uniform, and exclusive game studio.
Yeah.
Based in London, UK. We believe that we can help to change the world through games.
Jesus.
We believe in emotions. Well, so does everybody. We all experience them. And the people who don't should probably be locked up. They cause a lot of trouble. We believe in making games for everyone. But above all, we believe in people.
Except if
Fuck
you're
white men.
Equal opportunity, unless you're white.
Here's another one where she said she's going to grow her abs to crush nuts and obnoxious white men with them.
She better hope that phone wasn't made in Israel.
Less than 2 weeks later, Diaz posted why white men over 40, for being somehow generous, are allergic to saying the word diversity.
Because the world was a lot better 20 years ago when they were 20 and your kind didn't exist.
Yeah. Well, there you go. I mean, the reality here is that diversity is not what it means.
Diversity. Oh my gosh.
It doesn't mean diversity, because every time you say the word diversity, what we as white men of any freaking age hear is no white men allowed. So why the hell would we want to champion diversity? And that's, of course, without pointing out the utter flaw in her rhetoric that I've said the word diversity about 5 times while reading this sentence. Retard. But there you go. Back in May 2023, Diaz posted an organized, spontaneous little meetup in Berlin for marginalized game developers. Now, I'd like you to tell me just right now, picture in your head what you think of when I say to you, marginalized, operative word, marginalized game developers.
Women
What do you
with
think?
blue hair.
Well, I actually don't think there's much hair, but you're not wrong. It's overweight white woman, kind of old looking white woman. Is that a gay man? One brown man, and then fat white woman, fat white woman. Diversity.
Oh my gosh, it's like total diversity.
Berlin
by the
was
way,
a heck of... Well, I'd just like to say Berlin was a heck of a lot better way before all this shit came into it.
Yeah.
It's just the way they're all
occurred to me
sitting there.
that
and
once
men are
again
like-
we've got far too much content for a 2-hour show, so we're just gonna have to keep going.
It's like those two men are like, holy shit, do we smile? Do we run? They might be able to catch us if we run. We better stay here. They're like, kill the white men.
There are a few demons in that pack, folks. I think the one furthest away is a demon. I think the one next to the guy with the hat is a lesbionic demon.
A lesbonic?
Yeah.
Lesbosis?
Yeah.
Lesbot. A voracious lesbite.
Austin Powers, the robots with the...
Pretty sure...
Is this like Atreus's dream?
No.
Atreus would be happy there.
They're all big Shirleys.
So it's Kaida's dream.
Oh, is it? I don't know. I haven't heard enough of their show yet.
Oh, it's fantastic.
What I did hear made me laugh quite a lot, but I was very busy. So there you go.
Podcast.
Once again, here's another ridiculous quote back in the 2021 era of NFT supremacy. She says, I think NFTs are just again some people wanting to be better than the rest. And I think it has lots to do with white supremacy and dangerous stuff. Fuck this shit.
You fucking white women there, you stupid bloody bint.
I think NFTs are just again some
NFTs
people.
are white supremacy.
Why
Exterminate.
destroy?
Jesus Christ.
NFTs are white supremacy.
So we have a white person saying, "Okay, I'm just not going to go there."
So she's a newbie to the scene, but yeah, she is a complete dickhead, and if she wants to say fuck us, then I said fuck her too. Somebody replied to that and told me my comment was very mean, but true. And it was nice that I didn't sugarcoat reality. And I said, when you sugarcoat reality, all you're doing is putting a sweet coating around bitter hags.
Well, you could have said, well, the truth is reality based, and then.
Well, I didn't want to step on your toes, did I?
No, everyone can be reality based. I could literally start a show.
I have used your phrase quite a lot in my various videos, actually.
Reality based will of the fans. Together will be your favorite. I'll be reality based. The audience will be the will of the fans, and we'll turn that into a show if and when Will is dead in like 50 to 60 years.
50 to 60? Wow. You are ambitious or optimistic.
Yes.
Anyway, there you go. We have finally finished what will no longer be called Rush News because it's taken up almost all of the show. But there you go. That was the show as it was supposed to be. There is also one more thing we need to do, and that, of course, is return once again to the Board of Destiny. I have two. First of all, actually, I want to do this because Eros Rhoda gifted 5 Will of the Fans memberships, which needs a significant shout out. Thank you. You lucky people. Then Mephisto X chimed in with £5. Says she looks like a mozzarella stick. Yeah, she was kind of pale, and yeah, she looks like the mozzarella that's not in the stick yet. Yeah, and then Adam Juman decided to join as a Grift Squad private of his own volition. Thank you very much. Ron is right. Says, "Will, may you live 1,000 years." Thank you. I would probably like to do that, but only if I could start aging at like 1/20th the rate I am at the moment. Then I would be okay with it.
Will of the 41st millennium. Will of the
there you go. In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there is only Will
of the fan.
There's no fans left. There's only Will. Anyway, there you go. So we got you rejoined, right? I see. Member for 5 months now, Adam.
Good job.
Wow, very good. Well done. Congratulations. I'll give you another one. That is impressive. A much valued and valuable member of the Grift Force. Join today. Get your emojis, guys. You can spam them in the chat. No. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can watch the back episodes of this show and the other shows. You can join the member stream that's coming at the end of the month. Hell, if you subscribe to the highest tier, you can be on the panel. Yes. That's what I'm offering. That's right. Anyway, it's time to bring back the Didiometer so that we can decide a couple of things. I have two for this one. Number one, Marina Diaz becomes a huge celebrated success, more or less likely than Diddy surviving to his own trial.
Yeah, I think Diddy will die first before she ever gets any fucking success in her life.
Well, of natural causes, you mean? Not like Epstein or anything. Okay, all right. So everything Diddy's really having a good day, isn't he? He's having a great day.
All these Mercanti clones, man.
I know, yeah.
God damn.
I got another one, though, and that is the likelihood that we ever talk about Marina Diaz again.
Oh, I don't know.
More or less likely
in the middle
than Diddy ending up on the right.
Let's give more likely another thing. Yeah,
so we're saying it's more likely that we will one day talk about Marina Diaz again.
Yes.
And that means ever. So we've got all of eternity to one day bring up her name again is more likely. Yeah, significantly. Whoa. Significant. I'm going to have to lock that bastard in position. Significantly more likely, I'd say, than Diddy making it to his own trial.
Breaking news: Mercanti and her clones suffer lesbian bed death.
More at 11. But there you go. Yeah, it's time for us to get to our main point of the stream, which of course is to eulogize the company that once was an absolute powerhouse of games design, development, production, and publishment. Ubisoft.
Rest in peace.
Which now stands as an utter monument to getting things dead wrong. It's really quite bizarre. I don't really know what we're going to do about this. Ubisoft began, of course, in 1986. If you don't know, they have been around that long. Most people have played a Ubisoft game. In fact, it would be very difficult to have been a gamer for even 10 years without having touched a Ubisoft game at some point at this time. They've been around since 1986. They came onto the scene with a few little games. They were started by the 5 Guillemot brothers. The CEO, of course, is Yves Guillemot, or whatever you want to call him. And they, of course, founded it in France. In 1996, they went public, raised over $80 million to expand the global footprint. By the 20th anniversary, Ubisoft had 8 multi-million unit selling brands, accounting for 2/3 of its annual turnover. So that's 2006, which was what? PS3 era.
Yeah.
The beginning of the Assassin's Creed years, actually. Well, Assassin's Creed didn't come out until a few years after that, but you get the point, right? In 2023, the company successfully pivoted to a live service monetization model. Is that true?
Well, success in terms of they managed to carry it out, but not in terms of its lasting legacy.
It's the thing that's killing them.
Yeah. And
Like
killing
more
it
than
quickly.
anything, more than DEI, more than anything, is the live service stuff. The fact that they're one of the most expensive companies when it comes to absolutely nickel and diming the gamers. It's utterly ridiculous. And of course, they have a market cap as of April 2024 of 3.2 billion, down a significant 75% from the high of 11.94 billion in 2020.
Jesus.
And that, of course, was in April. When their stock price, let's get it on screen. Excuse me a second. I will.
Well, I got to nip off to the loo, but I will say hashtag sell your Ubisoft shares, folks, as soon as possible. My goodness.
In April, the stock price was 21 euros, and it is now 12.8.
Sell.
It's up from Tuesday. I'll give them that. When you were screaming sell before, it was under 12. It's gone up €1. Very nice. Still, however, when you go back 5 years to 2021, when they had 82 euros, we are, of course, still looking at an 82% drop. They have had a number of significant, popular mega franchises. What have you played from Ubisoft?
Pretty much most of the Assassin's Creed series.
Assassin's Creed, of course, yeah. But what about Far Cry? Far Cry as a series, of course, is a major one. This is one of the biggest ones that they have. It has been for quite a long time. Why? They're not making any more?
No,
the last one was the one with.
No, I'm just making a prediction that it's going to go like.
Well, yeah, they can't really do anything live servicey with Far Cry. Those games have endings.
And they're only focused on live service now. They're not focused on anything else.
Yeah.
Because they still want to just nickel and dime people. So to them, if they can do live service games, that's the only way they can actually get revenue, because everything else has failed.
Right. I see.
And they've lost the Asian market with Assassin's Creed Shadows, because
sure lost the Asian market. Yeah, that's never coming back now. They've basically taken a huge, colossal dump all over Japan, and Japan is not the kind of country that forgives things like that.
Uh,
They had
no.
Far Cry, of course. They also had the Tom Clancy series. We've got Splinter Cell, of course, I think was the beginning of that. Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six, multiple games in all of those franchises. And, of course, The Division that came out in 2016.
But now
And nobody cared.
yeah. No, I was just going to say the Tom Clancy sort of franchise, if you want to call it that, that's going downhill anyway because people are sick of it. They're like, oh, it's another Rainbow Six. Okay, we're going to do this game again, then again, then again. I think gamers are just sick of the franchises now.
Yeah. You're not wrong. I mean, if you go back, this is the sad part, right? Because this company wasn't always absolutely awful. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, a lot of the games I had were published by Ubisoft. I mean, I've got right here in my hand, I'm going to put myself full screen for a second. This is Grandia, the original, the PlayStation version, of course. It was originally a Saturn game. This is one of the best JRPGs ever. It was made by Game Arts, but it was published by Ubisoft. You can see the old logo is right there. Even the second one, Grandia 2, right here, got that too. That's where the chick for our thumbnail came from. She's one of the characters in the game. The one with the big old boobies. Yeah, Ubisoft. They published these two JRPGs that I really enjoyed. And then, of course, I've got a load of other games of theirs too. I've got Assassin's Creed. Got pretty much loads of them. You got Assassin's Creed 1. I haven't got 2 anymore. I think I let that go, and I ended up with the Ezio collection, which is 3 games. So you've got Assassin's Creed 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Assassin's Creed Revelations. I don't think I ever owned Assassin's Creed 3. I don't know why. I just didn't get that one for some reason. Black Flag, probably the absolute peak of the entire series. What else? Unity, broken mess, but got fixed eventually. Syndicate, lots of fun. 1800s London with a zip line. And then, of course, they went back and released Origins and Odyssey. And you know what? Here's an interesting thing. Did anybody complain about Assassin's Creed Origins having a brown guy as the main character?
Absolutely not.
Well, what about the DLC for Black Flag, where you went and released slaves from cages as his first mate? No, nobody complained. Now I'm out of focus. Stupid camera. Do as I tell you. Let's get this back on track.
Will's got a ring of power.
This is my wedding ring.
Oh. I thought you were wearing
and I have 2.
I thought you were wearing the one ring for a second. Damn.
One ring to marry them. One ring to...
No, I got 2 rings. One on each hand, actually. But there you go.
He's really the man. He's collecting rings. He's going to be like...
Yeah, well, I actually have quite a lot of rings. But I don't wear them. Only the ones that I'm wearing right now. So there you go. But Ubisoft has released a lot of games over the years. They actually started off really humbly with a game called Zombie. Cute, right?
God,
I don't know what it was.
Depressing.
Amstrad, 1986, 87. But then, of course, what other games? I mean, can you think of any favorite Ubisoft games that you've played?
I think my favorite was a World War II game. It's like strategy game called Ruse. It was on the PS3. You could play as all sorts of different nations, and they had like a DLC to play as Japan, but I could never get it. And I think they stopped supporting that game now.
What year was that?
It was
2010s?
during... I think it was during the PlayStation 3 era, because that's when I played it.
Oh, this one.
Yep.
Ruse. R-U-S-E. I've never seen that one. Oh, no, wait. I think I have seen that, actually. I saw that on the shelf in Blockbuster.
It is a good game, especially from a World War II perspective, but I stopped playing it because my PS3 packed in, and as a result, I couldn't play the game anymore.
Bloke on the left kind of looks like Daniel Craig.
Ooh. Well, yeah, that's like there's like a main story about from like North Africa to the Battle of the Bulge, and right at the end you defeat the Germans and then take on the commies right at the end. But yeah, it's a great World War II strategy game.
I've got a mate you'd get on with really well. He loves his World War II strategy. He likes any strategy.
And that statement there, a permanent internet connection is required to play the game. On the PS3, that's a load of bullshit because I played the damn game without an internet connection.
Right. Well, fair enough. It wasn't all tiny little humble beginnings. They did eventually get to, because this is going to be like, Ubisoft, this is your death, as opposed to this is your life. They actually released the first edition of Bomberman for the Amiga, which was called Dynablaster. Don't know, you wouldn't know that. I knew that name though, Dynablaster. They released it for Atari and various other consoles as well. They released Star Wars on Game Boy and Empire Strikes Back.
I remember the Game Boy I remember Star Wars on Game Boy.
I remember it too. It was good fun. It wasn't too bad. But of course, the big win for them was when Rayman came along. Yeah. And Rev, do you want to drop a link to your YouTube channel in the chat for James Up?
Get it. It's at.
And hello, James Up, by the way. Welcome to the show.
It's the most inappropriate name for Dobby. Hunter Rev Ravenwolf. What do you hunt? Cockroaches?
Wouldn't you like to know?
White blood cells? I really didn't want to say it. I'm so sorry.
Pretty much, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, reality-based will of the fans.
I couldn't resist. I'm so sorry, Dobby. I'm so sorry. It was right there, and I couldn't help myself.
You're fine. Don't worry.
I don't want to be like Ryan.
This is why I'm not a regular on too many people's shows. I know I don't look effective, but I do really get into people's heads.
I feel really bad when I do shit like that, though. Yeah, of course, Rayman was the big win for Ubisoft in the mid-90s on PlayStation 1 and fucking everything, actually. It was on, what else was it on? It was on Atari Jaguar, amazingly. Yep. DOS, Windows, Saturn, and then later PlayStation.
Yep.
No, it was on PlayStation first, actually. Sorry about that.
We're not given complete and accurate dates, but yeah, 1995. It was on a lot of systems. Rayman did incredibly well when it first released, and I dare say it was one of their first real original Ubisoft games that hit the highlights. Yep.
I think even Rayman was on the original PS1 demo disc that I got with my PlayStation. So it was that big at the time. It was before Crash Bandicoot, I think, came out and started really wrecking shit up as mascot platformers go. And then pretty much after that, Rayman was kind of a little bit overlooked because it was a 2D platformer. And as much as everybody loves 2D platformers, and they've aged a lot better than PS1 era 3D platformers, for the most part. I mean, who plays Gex anymore, Yeah, 2D platformers have done really well, but back then it was, passe to be a 2D game when you had the option to be 3D. Interestingly as well, I don't know if you noticed when I was holding up the Grandia box, and this corroborates it as well, they were going by Ubi space soft as two words. I don't know when they changed that name, but that's interesting. Yeah, so they released loads of games. In fact, they released Gex as well. Gex Enter the Gecko. There you go. Didn't know about that. And
big money with that.
Well, the Fifth Element game, that was them too. That wasn't bad. I played that when I was a kid. What else did they release? Jesus, tons of stuff. Well, that's about all I recognize from that era. But then the 2000s came, and they just went from strength to strength. They continued. You got Rayman 2, of course. That's when the graphics changed. And they got the sort of art style that they stuck with for a very long time. What else? Batman Beyond. Wow, a game on that. I didn't even know that ever had a game. That's weird. Loads and loads and loads of stuff came out. Wait, no way. No way. They made a video game of the Adam Sandler movie Little Nicky.
Yeah.
Oh my Christ. What? Okay. Well, fair enough. And then, of course, you've got Grandia. Yeah. Which I'm holding in my hand. Because this game is amazing. If you haven't played this game, I really have to recommend. Excuse me. I really have to recommend that you play it because it is amazing.
And so many great games from so many different genres. We've seen quite a few racing games, from the Formula One to rallying and tennis as well. And so many different kinds of games. A stark contrast to Ubisoft in recent years, which is essentially the same game over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, they're saying I need to read out a comment, but I can't see what the comment is.
Yeah, what comment did they want us?
What comment do you want me to read out? The Rayman in the Olympics? That one? I don't know. I'm confused. Anyway,
Rayman in Iraq 2003 edition.
If Rayman was big enough to make it to the Olympics, then France is really in trouble because Rayman hasn't been relevant for years. I think Rayman hasn't been relevant since the Wii, when the fucking Rabbids took over. What else we got here? Armored Core. Well, that was a big name back then. Yeah. What else? God, it is a real shame when you actually look at it. And then, of course, Ghost Recon 2001. The beginning.
Conflict Zone, which was a very interesting game for its time. I mostly remember it from like the successors to it on the PlayStation 2, but the whole idea of, two sides fighting for global supremacy, that sort of mindset, you couldn't do that today. You really couldn't.
Yeah. No, you couldn't.
Oh.
But there you go. You also had oh my god, they released Breath of Fire on Game Boy Advance.
Yeah.
Wow. The original Breath of Fire. I love those games. I was
Alongside Capcom, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was a big JRPG guy, so I played all the PS1 JRPGs. So anything that they released, I would have played. And man, there are so many. It's actually crazy. Yeah.
When you
look at all the games they've released, like movie tie-ins, yeah, a bunch of Tomb Raider stuff too as well, which is weird. Then Splinter Cell, of course, came out and kind of changed everything. And yeah, loads and loads and loads of stuff. Kind of crazy.
Hundreds of games.
What they released? Wild Arms 3 on PS2. I've got that on my shelf behind me. Didn't even know that was a Ubisoft publication. See, there's so many of them. How do they go from 13? That was a big name back then as well. Yeah, there's loads. And then, of course, they made it really big with Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, which was a return to their original Prince of Persia series that they'd had before that.
And then
back in the old days.
And it's getting a re-release, a remake in 2026.
Yep.
Yeah. And then Beyond Good and Evil, of course.
That's the thing. If they do release it, because the way they're going at the minute, they may not.
Right. I don't know. Wasn't Beyond Good and Evil supposed to get a sequel? Yeah. Yeah. It's been in development for like 20 years or something crazy like that. I don't know. Anyway, there you go. Yeah.
Then the first Far Cry in 2004.
Yep. Keep Playboy the Mansion. Interesting. All right.
Behave, Ryan.
The responsible for the Game Boy version and DS versions of Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. It's crazy how, I mean, they put their like fingers in every pie, basically. They had
King Kong. They made a King Kong game.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, I remember that. That game was on everything. It was not very good. They released a few, but that is actually the point, which is kind of what I was trying to build to. Yeah, thanks. Which is, you look at just how many games they would release in a year. you're like talking like 50 games or 60 games a year by the 2000s. And then we're at the point now where, you know, it's appalling, really. I mean, yeah, it's quite a long list, but nowhere near as long as the kind of like how many games they would release. Besides that, now of course,
and those down at the bottom, Will, are all the games that are due to be released as well.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yep.
And now they've shot themselves in the foot to the extent that who knows what is going to be released in the future.
Congrats, guys! Monopoly comes out in a week.
And all of those projects, considering they are all confirmed projects, they're all going to be made, because that's how they do it in Europe in terms of developments. It's like they say in advance, okay, we're completely fucked and we're going to go under, but we have committed to these projects, we will fulfill these projects, and they will all get done. So the ones that have release dates on them will get done, folks. Even if today or tomorrow Ubisoft says, yeah, we're fucked. Because that's how it works with European development studios. I mean, THQ did that. They made it clear that they were basically bankrupt in 2010, and they still made projects up till they fully died out. I think it was in 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's actually I read a thing earlier on that said that Ubisoft has a less than 50% chance of going bankrupt at this point, which sounds great, except it doesn't.
No,
it could be a less than 5% chance, but it's not. It's a less than 50% chance now.
Well, we had that similar a similar fate to Activision Blizzard. They were bleeding out and going under. Had it not been for Xbox buying them out, I don't think we would have had Activision Blizzard today. So who knows? Maybe Ubisoft get bought out, maybe by Microsoft.
So the two biggest problems, obviously, with Ubisoft, as it stands right now, are the DEI problem and the bloat. Right? The bloat is the biggest problem in the entire industry, actually. I guess I'd like to say that the DEI problem is a bigger problem, except that it is a problem we can see getting worse. If you know, you know, right? Whereas, yes, the stock is rising at the moment, James, but it is down 80% over 5 years. 82%.
And they've lost 1,000 employees in the space of 12 months.
Yeah,
they had 20,000. They had 20,000 employees in 2023, and it's now gone down to nearly 19,000. So they've lost nearly 1,000 employees in the space of the year. Ubisoft know that they're living on borrowed time, and in order to survive, they have to cut costs. They have to be more efficient. Otherwise, the only way they will survive is if they get bought out by a stronger company. And I think the only company that has the capital to do that, despite buying Bethesda and Activision Blizzard King, is Microsoft.
Yeah. It's humiliating, because you've gone from being a company that was a little company right at the beginning of the gaming renaissance of the Nintendo Entertainment System, although they were working on Amigas and Amstrads and Ataris, but fair enough. Then they built themselves up to becoming, one of the most prominent publishers and developers for, and not like, superstars like Square Soft as they were back then, or later companies like Rockstar, etc. But they were a consistent publisher. If you needed a game published or ported, Ubisoft would take that job. They would do it. They would do it well. The game might not be the best game, but that's not their fucking fault. They didn't make it. They just did their job. They ported it. They make their money. They move on. And then they started to make more and more and more and more money. And most people blame Assassin's Creed because it made so much money, and Far Cry made so much money that they basically could just rehash those two games for 15 years, something like that, nearly at this point. Well, when did Assassin's Creed 1 come out? It was like 2009. 2007, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know
Around
the first one.
yeah, 2007.
Jesus, I didn't. Yeah, it was. It was 2007. Wow. I'm thinking of Assassin's Creed 2. It was 2009, wasn't it? Yeah.
We do have to remember, though, folks, for its time, Assassin's Creed was something brand spanking new, fresh.
It's that era
exciting.
when I was working in blockbusters. When I was working in Blockbuster Video, I was looking at them a lot. Like, I didn't play them until quite a bit after they came out. I don't think I played Assassin's Creed 1 until like 2010.
You gotta think as well, Will. I mean, Far Cry debuted in 2004. Assassin's Creed debuted in 2007. Yes, they have developed and changed over the course of their runnings, but these are franchises that are either at or getting close to 20 years old. And if you don't shake things up and add new flavor into them, well, of course they're going to suffer and die.
Yeah, well, I mean, so you've got this problem, obviously, that the more money they had, the more they started to see themselves as a competitor for the biggest names out there, right? So their games become huge. They have 200, 300 man teams working, or woman teams working on these games. But of course, the DEI came in as well, and before you know it, you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars to make one game that you are poisoning as you are developing it. You are literally poisoning the thing, so that by the time you have spent all that money, you have ended up producing a rotten apple that nobody wants to eat,
which rots everything else. All you need is just one bad product, and that's it. You're done.
And they've had multiple. They have had multiple bad products in a row in the last few years. What have they had just this year? If we bring back the screen, hold on. Here we go. We've had a Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Didn't know that came out. Skull and Bones, which was the Quad A game. You know, the one that was supposed to be a colossal thing. It was one of the first new franchises that Ubisoft themselves were actually taking the credit for the development of, even though they did it in Singapore. Then, of course, you've got Rainbow Six SMOL. I don't know. Gwen's Gateway, whatever that is. X-Defiant. Now, X-Defiant was another one that was supposed to come out and be their big killer live service that is going to dominate. It's going to take players away from other games that are similar, but that's not how it fucking works. No. The globalist idea that you can have 10 live services that have an equal market share is absolutely insane. It is completely insane. There's a big difference between, like, having 10 movies that you like, and then something that's, I don't know, what's an alternative that's like always going? It's like 10
like a streaming service.
Yeah, okay, yeah, like a streaming service, but only playing one thing all the time. You know, like 10 never-ending TV shows, like soap operas or something. You know, you can't divide your attention that much. People can't do it. They have to pick one. And if you're releasing 3 or 4 in a year and they're all broken, buggy messes, it's not going to work.
That's going to kill you.
Well, a project that can't die isn't a project that can truly live. And I think that's the great weakness of live service games, is they have no end, which means how can they live and thrive? That's the best part about games and stories as a whole. They have to have beginnings, middles, and endings. And live service games, even the most successful of them, go against that structure. So can they really be counted as successful when they are these undead, immortal beings that can't really develop on their own? They have to develop off of something else. And that's why I think Fortnite has been such a success, because it is a foundational live service game that sucks everything else into it. That's why they do all these collaborations.
So then we come to Star Wars Outlaws. which was another one that was supposed to be a real serious coup for them because they
The
managed
greatest game ever done.
Well, they managed to get that away from EA. EA had the exclusive rights to make Star Wars games for Disney. We all called it the Unholy Alliance, you know, Disney and EA working together to milk you for money and put a Stormtrooper brand on it, you know, or a pair of fucking Yoda ears or a vroom vroom lightsaber.
Or a baby Yoda.
Yeah. And then Star Wars Outlaws comes along, and it's every single thing that we freaking hate about this damned industry. You've got ugly woman, you know, mannish, feminism, you know, you can't have a male character, pointless mascot, and of course, all of the actual mechanical problems, which are just a smear of incompetence that I never thought I would fucking see from Ubisoft, you know, although this is massive entertainment, apparently. Anyway, then they just basically started to slowly turn into EA, and this is the result. Now you've got this, and then what's next? Just Dance. Okay, that might do okay, except the dance game craze has been dead for 10 years. What are they doing making more of them? Who asked for that?
Well, there's a reason you haven't seen a Guitar Hero in a generation, folks. It's had its time.
Yeah.
Let it fade away.
The only one that survived now is Rocksmith, because you use a real guitar. It actually gives you lessons. You know, if you can play a song on Rocksmith, you can take your guitar out and get some gigs. You know? But anyway, the next one, of course, is the big one, the biggest potential fuck up of their entire history, really.
The 14th Assassin's Creed, ladies and gentlemen, could be its last. Yeah.
Well,
I just don't know how they can recover this game. This game is, I just don't believe this will do well. I know it's Assassin's Creed. Some people will buy it. Normies will probably buy it. But I think this has the potential to wake up more normies than a lot of things,
especially when you piss off the entire Japanese market.
This is an era now where Japan is not going to support this game, not remotely. The entire country fucking hates Ubisoft for this, right?
We could make a simple comparison with Star Wars Outlaws. Let's say, considering this is Ubisoft we're talking about, exactly the same kind of game. Just imagine Shadows gets released, and it's just like Outlaws in terms of how it looks, in terms of how it operates. Then we could make an assessment on that. And I dare say a correct assessment, because this is Ubisoft we're talking about, the company that literally makes the exact same type of games. In this sense, an open world third-person game. So if they fucked it up with Outlaws, it's not even worth calling Star Wars. If they fucked it up with Outlaws, they will fuck it up with Shadows.
Yeah.
Oh, they definitely will, yeah. I mean, and not only that, right, but what kind of people play Assassin's Creed? People who've played the franchise since it began, or people like me who got in around about the time that 3 came out. And then normies. It's a big enough franchise that you've got a lot of normies playing it now. It's a repetitive fetch quest, basically, at this point, with a bit of assassination in it. And, you know, it's not doing well, guys. I mean, look, this came out, a month ago nearly? Assassin's Creed Shadows pre-orders less than 800 units from a national chain with over 900 stores.
Yeah,
it's a macro scale version of what we just heard for Unknown 9. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, except it's 100 times the size. The problem. So you've got a country that this is the setting for that will not play it, will not embrace it whatsoever. They've stolen assets to market it from the flag that they borrowed without permission from that military organization, to stealing Romano Azoro's Sunday Kitetsu from One Piece and using that as an example of the kind of memorabilia of the game. People immediately recognized it as Sundai Kitetsu because it's a very memorable sword. Then you've got the normies, and what's going to happen here? The normies are going to grab it, and the first thing they're going to go, and we're assuming here, right, that the normies have somehow bought this game without seeing any marketing and without seeing the box art, right? Because they're going to go, why is the samurai black?
Yep.
Normies are not affected by this. The culture war doesn't touch them, but they're still going to go, oh no, this is that DEI shit I've been hearing about.
Yeah, and they're just going to not play it because they won't care.
And even if they do play it, they're going to get so far into it, and then they're going to be told to go and slaughter a bunch of Japanese people as a big burly African man who definitely couldn't have been that fit, considering he was a retainer who was taken to Japan and was only there for 15 months, by the way, not long enough to train to be a samurai. And
So the assassin in Assassin's Creed is the female, and the shadow is basically the male. And you do have the option of playing between characters for missions. So if you want
it's doing the same thing that they did with Jacob and Evie Fry in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, where they're two different characters with two different styles.
Well, if you want to play Assassin's Creed, play as the female. If you want to play Shadows, play as the male. Simple as that.
That's it. And that's where I was coming to next, yes, which is the normie playing the game is like, this bit odd. Why am I a black dude? Then they're going to either get a load of fake history shoved in their face, which doesn't exist, or then they're going to start playing it. Then they're going to get told to go and kill a bunch of Japanese people while a bunch of weird, slightly feudal sounding hip hop is fucking playing. At which point, I mean, the black crowd who have brains in their head, as we can tell from the amount of them that are backing Trump, are going to be extremely offended if they didn't already know about this.
Pow, pow, pow.
Gamergate gamers, which make up about 50% of all gamers at this point, who it seems anyway, I don't know, it's probably less than that, but, are going to go, well, obviously I'm not buying this. And so the result is you have a massive quadruple A game, huge budget, massive marketing, horrifying international incident. You've offended a country and nobody's playing it to the tune of only 800 units pre-ordered. You are fucked.
Yep. They're not just fucked, they're in the ground rotting away fucked.
But then they can just say... But then they can just say, oh, it failed because racism.
Yep. Oh, yes, because everybody's racist. Okay, well, you keep saying that as you have to close another division down and sack 1,000 people. Go ahead as you file for bankruptcy. Keep going. If only the bloody racists, Oh, I would have been a millionaire if it weren't for those blasted racists,
It's all part of...
Say what you like, man. We know we're not racist.
It's all part of the narrative of, oh, look at how powerful these bigots are. They're causing the collapse of corporations with their cancel culture campaigns. They're very dangerous. We must label them as terrorists and then have them all deplatformed and shot.
Absolutely right. Did you see the video that came out today from Geeks and Gamers, actually, where there was a series of tweets around that basically said that Disney is now controlled by basically us? They're deranged. They're so detached from reality now. The people, these irrelevant social justice types, are so completely separate from the rest of the world that they genuinely believe that there is only us and them. Yeah, they don't seem to realize that there's 90% of people are still just normies who are having the same reaction that we are, just not publicly. The silent majority isn't buying this shit. That's why The Acolyte got cancelled. Nobody watched it. It wasn't only us not watching it. And we don't have enough subscribers between all of us to account for the entire population of Earth that Disney wanted to watch that show. It's insanity.
Well, our opposition don't use the truth. To them, it's all about narrative control, and then after that, it's about damage control and the shock of a Disney show getting cancelled when none other previously had gotten cancelled. those progressive ponces, in order to keep their mental framework together, they had to put 2 and 2 together and came up with the fact the Acolyte got so much bad publicity, and that convinced Disney to cancel the project. Who's responsible for the bad publicity? It's all these racist and sexist bigots. It's all these evil content creators. We must cancel them. And if we can't cancel them, well, they must control some parts of these institutions. They must be the ones pulling Disney strings to cancel the Acolyte. It's all about building that narrative to justify their lunacy.
Yeah. And you see, the thing is, they continue to gaslight and turn it around and try and say that it's us who have these beliefs. The thing is, the difference is, again, I say it almost every bloody stream now, we all came together separately because of pattern recognition. We all noticed that these things are indeed there. These people are indeed very vocally condemning basic human nature in favor of a paradox that they want to construct instead. We say no, they label us as bigots and monsters who are trying to manipulate fucking history. It's insanity. It's projection. They can only blame us for doing what they are doing themselves and failing.
It's only getting worse, though, because that lunacy, in order for their mental framework to continue, these progressive ponces have to push the narrative of, oh, well, if we can't cancel these creators because their bad publicity canceled the Acolyte, they must have some control, some influence over Disney, trying to create this narrative that prominent content creators can control the direction of a multi-billion-dollar corporation is absolutely insane, and just exposes the fact that our opposition are lunatics.
They are lunatics, and they have absolutely no concept of market forces, just like Kotaku don't either. It's very simple. Supply and demand.
Yeah.
There was no demand for the Acolyte. And when people saw what it was going to be, there was definitely no demand for the Acolyte. So when the Acolyte came out, who watched it? YouTubers.
Nobody. Yeah.
Only YouTubers. And the only YouTubers who watched it were the ones who were going to review it and call it a piece of shit because they knew it would be.
Well, what are they going to do when the Agatha doesn't get renewed? They're going to try and cancel content creators again.
No, that's it. I saw a headline earlier on. It's already been confirmed that it won't get a series 2.
Oh, okay then.
Because if
you're I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they would have given it a season 2, but there's no way they have any confidence in this.
Not when you market it as openly a gay explosion. Yeah.
I reckon they've only done that because they knew it would bomb. So they might as well crowbar as much DEI into it as they possibly can to get the fucking royalty check from BlackRock and then write it off, you know? Might as well, I guess. But that you can't live like that forever.
No.
You need customers. You can keep calling everybody racist if you want. That's fine. But it's not going to make people turn around and go, you know what? You're right. I am a horrible bigot, aren't I? You know, you're right. I just realized I've lived my entire life secretly as a racist by your newfangled definition. You're so right. I'm really grateful to you for badgering me and badgering me and badgering me for years. I'm going to go back and retroactively watch every single miserable fucking second of Disney Star Wars and Disney Marvel just because you are so fucking right. Thank you. No. Nobody it's not in a million years. That literally should be something I should add to the damn Didiometer, and it would be dead last in the less likely than Diddy surviving his own trial.
Well, you talk about supply and demand, Will. If there is a demand for something and it resonates with people, then give the people what they want. That's why so many content creators are making names for themselves right now, highlighting the problems with our popular culture, whether it's from a more moderate perspective or from a more radical, bigoted perspective, because it takes all sorts to be a content creator. I personally think now more than ever, we need to throw everything we can at all these different topics of the day, because bad press will seriously damage these companies, and with enough bad press, they will stop creating these awful projects and start creating better projects. That's the power of publicity, folks. And I don't think moderation is the way to do that, and giving the opposition the benefit of the doubt, especially journo rats. We have to push it as much as we can.
They've proven that they will give us nothing of the like, so why should we? Exactly. I'm just going to do a quick shout out to TJF Steve for donating 10 Will of the Fans memberships. My goodness gracious me. Thanks very much. More green for Princess of the Fans. Much love. She's doing very, very well now. She's very alert, upright. She's smiling. She's giggling. She's doing little sit-ups with a little assistant. She's a fucking marvel. I tell you, it's the greatest thing I can see every morning when I wake up. It's amazing. I love it. Love being a dad. So thank you very much. This whole thing, though, is depressing as fuck. Because at the end of it all, I almost feel sorry for this generation because they are not equipped to live in the world. What happens when we win? I think the reason that they are now getting to the point where they are calling for us to be deplatformed, they're calling for people like Star Wars Theory, who's like the nicest man on YouTube.
Moderate of the moderates. They always
labeled a bigot. They're going after Jeremy Jahns for, you know,
because they always target the moderates first, and that's what
they know they can't get us.
That's why I tried to tell Goldie on the last episode of WoTF Live. If they want to get rid of content creators, they always target the moderates. They never target the more radical content creators.
No.
Why? Because more extreme, more radical content creators who do not give a fuck will go after these motherfuckers, these agents of the establishment. And that is why the most radical and extreme of content creators don't get cancelled, because they're uncancelable, even if they are a bit obnoxious about it. Great example would be, I don't know, Melanie Mack. She literally says slurs all the time, and she's just like, hey, you got a problem? Well, that's your problem, plus F slur.
Yeah, it's just true. Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is, because she doesn't give a fuck anymore. That's what it is. You know, we're at that point now. The problem is, the more it goes on, the more I've seen, and I've been not scared or shocked or even particularly alarmed. I've started to feel a bit sorry for them, because it's becoming clear to me that this is like a battle for survival for them. And I don't mean that in the deranged way that they use things like, you know, ignoring someone's demand to be called a woman when they're obviously not one is the same as genocide. That's insanity, right? That's hyperbole. I mean, their way of life will not be sustainable when the world resets to how it was before all this snowflake bullshit. When it goes back to being, you can say any fucking thing you like, and as long as you're tolerant and nice about it, you can basically hold any belief, and the way it was like 15 years ago, right? And when it goes back to that, these people are not going to know what to do, because they became adults during this, and they will be, it's like what they're saying now at the moment. What was I watching? I guess a Daily Wire thing or something. They were saying most businesses these days will actively avoid hiring Gen Z because they lack social skills. They literally can't interpret the world the way the rest of us have been able to. And that is a tragedy. And so I kind of am beginning to see them as cornered rats. They literally don't know what to do, because we're coming along. We can get to the normies before they can. Our message resonates with regular people because we used to be regular people before we decided to take up arms against them, right? They're TikTok brains, Simdal, right? Exactly. Yeah, that's all they can do, which also is why Just Dance doesn't sell anymore. They don't need it. But there you go. So they're actually in the middle of a massive tragedy, and I don't know if you've seen this video yet, but it's pretty amazing. This video is from a little channel called Sungren Studios. This guy is a solo game dev.
Ooh.
And he's done. I want to watch this whole thing pretty much in its entirety. There's not much reason to stop it before we wrap this up. It's about 5-6 minutes, and we can talk about it. But you guys should support this by going and watching it afterwards on his channel and like it and stuff, because he's doing a good job. You can tell he's very serious about this. I thought he was almost a parody at the beginning, but no, this guy has walked into this situation and he is very upset about it, and he has a lot to say, and it is the perfect way to tie off our Ubisoft eulogy. So here you go.
Thank you for joining me.
You hear it right?
Today, I will address game developers and publishers all around the world. First, I would like to share advice that has served me well working in professional environments. A wise man learns from his mistakes, and an even wiser man learns from other people's mistakes.
True.
Today, I will explain the failures of Ubisoft, explain what other developers and publishers can learn to avoid becoming the same kind of failure, and lastly, my personal apology. This video will offer critical comment on the state of Ubisoft and its developers.
This is dead serious.
Please wait until the end of the video so I can share my formal apology. It has been revealed recently that for game development, Ubisoft hired diversity activists as consultants with a focus on challenging moral standards.
It's out, guys.
Ubisoft
Normies.
is offering mentorship programs while excluding individuals based on their gender. I ask you, what is fun about challenging moral standards? How does that translate into a good gaming experience? Star Wars Outlaws from Ubisoft has launched as an abject, catastrophic failure. Even the most basic mechanical aspects of the product are incompetently implemented. One might wonder how a company with millions of dollars of funding can produce something lacking in even the most basic level of competence. We are no longer living in an era where multi-million-dollar companies hold all the power. The everyday gamer now has the power to rise up against tyrants and incompetence. Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Shadows will fail on launch. The entirety of the gaming industry has indicated that there is absolutely no confidence in Ubisoft to produce a competent product.
Yep.
So let's see what we can learn from Ubisoft's failures.
Amazing, right?
Instead of hiring game developers, artists, and writers who have natural talent and skill that has been refined and cultivated from years of hard work, companies are funding and hiring based on skin color and sexual identity and politics. These are the people who made Star Wars Outlaws. These are the people who made Assassin's Creed Shadows. Companies do not make video games. Money does not make video games. People make video games. Awful people make awful video games, and awful video games will not earn your company meaningful revenue. Ubisoft has totally missed the mark by claiming they are delivering an accurate representation of Japanese history and culture.
Bullshit.
They spit in the face of Japan as a country and as people. Ubisoft is using Japan as fodder for diversity checklists to pander to an audience they have imagined because they have a narrow perspective of the world and are blinded by their own self-importance and ego.
Damn right.
These people are not capable of accepting that they can be wrong about anything. They will be unable to improve as artists and developers. So, lesson 1. Hire based on talent and skill. Hire well-adjusted adults who have some perspective of the world. If someone mentions their pronouns or sexual identity as one of their defining traits, then this person very likely has no other defining traits and has very little of value to offer in a creative or professional environment. Lesson 2. Using diversity consultants will not make a product better. The gaming audience will identify the red flags of superficial diversity consultants, and they will understand when a product is not created in good faith. Using diversity consultants will cause a product to fail, as we are seeing time and time again across a range of entertainment mediums. Lesson 3. Do not let your development team members perform PR duties and damage control. These people will cause more harm than good. Rely on experienced, trained PR managers to perform these duties. We have largely failed this generation of game developers. It will take hard work, and we will have to work together. But we can make the next generation of developers into the strongest and most creatively capable we have ever seen. We can foster the next generation of developers by sharing our knowledge and experience, by explaining the values of design philosophy that matter, and by explaining the failures of this generation. Lastly, my apology. To the people of the development teams of games like Assassin's Creed Shadows and other similar games that have launched recently, to the diversity consultants who advise major companies on how to write their stories and focus on identity politics, I worked closely with some of the leaders of the generation that came before me. It was the generation who came before me who was responsible for ensuring that all of you would be able to grow up into well-adjusted, intelligent, and well-informed adults with at least some perspective of the real world. It was our responsibility to ensure that you grew up into decent human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And I see now that we have failed you on every single level possible. And for that, I apologize. I won't be able to help you, as it is too late. But I will work hard every day to ensure that the next generation of young people does not have to grow up into failures like you. Thank you.
Fuck.
Best of luck with that, because the way it's going, it's only going to get worse.
Yep.
It will get better one day. But he's absolutely right.
he's spot on
And
right.
if he, I don't know if you know, James Ops actually super chatted it, so I will get to that. I went and had a look at a couple of other videos that he's done, and yeah, he does not want to be doing this. Like, he's not someone who's signed up for this like I did or you guys did, you know. He's like someone who's doing something else, and he's just had enough and can't take it anymore and needs to say something. And what he says is actually the truth. We kind of got almost to it when we were talking a little while ago, and that's why I thought, wait, time to watch this, because that last thing he says is true. These are completely broken people who will need like serious re-education to undo the brainwashing that has led to them living in this cloud of delusion that means that they seek to build a world that cannot possibly exist. It will not last forever. It cannot last forever. It is, first of all, they're being manipulated by higher powers that definitely do not actually want the things that they champion. They want the exact opposite. They're just scamming you like every communist leader ever, you know?
Born and bred, and these types of people, folks, we have to remember, were born and bred at the peak of Western civilization.
Exactly.
Born from the late 80s to the early 2000s, around that area of like late millennials to early Gen Z, and were bred when Western civilization was at its peak between the 1990s
Although actually,
to the late 2000s.
Gen Y was the first. No, Gen X was the first generation to not do as well as the generation before it. So I'm the second. I'm X, Y, sort of in the middle, and then there's obviously Gen Z, which is fucked, completely fucked. Gen Alpha may have some hope because a lot of the young Gen Alpha people are rebelling against this. This is now the thing to rebel against, which is good. Eventually it will sort itself out, but we all need to not give up, keep doing our part. People ask me why I talk about the shit I talk about. Say because it fucking matters.
Well, it
does.
It
talk
does
about video games and stuff. It's pop culture. You want to control a culture, you get to them through their art.
Yeah,
exactly. And the establishment. That's why I was surprised when the demonetization campaign failed, because I personally think the establishment really does underestimate the value of pop culture content creation. Unlike, say, political content creation. They fucking deplatform them like that, and they've done it a few times already. But the fact that they haven't done it with pop culture content creators just goes to show that our opposition really do underestimate how valuable it is.
That's it. And Simdal says, yeah, this is why Gen Alpha iPad babies are royally screwed. This is why my kid's not getting one. Just simple. No, toys. Traditional toys and occasional Nintendo. Same as I had, and I had social skills. So
it's amazing how poverty could really destroy wokeness. Like a Great Depression could easily destroy this ideology.
Wokeness will usher in a depression that will undo wokeness. Yeah, absolutely. It will be the Soviet Union again. You know, it will. I need to get to this while we're still talking about this dude, because I think he's done a fantastic job here. A beautiful job. And you do?
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. That's fine. You go.
Take care, everyone.
Say anything before you
go? Make sure you follow everyone here, and I will be doing live streams probably later today and tomorrow.
All right, mate. Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Take care. Yeah, sorry. I know it's gone on really long, this one, but it's worth it. It's a good topic.
Oh, hell yeah.
Anyway, James Op has come in for 20. So first of all, things being wow, thank you very much. And that is astonishing. Yes, so this guy has suffered for making this video and others like it. As James Ott points out, the establishment wants chaos because they can do shit unnoticed if your attention's someplace else. Yeah. Gift for Princess of the Fans. Thank you very much. This penalized for it. This guy, he was penalized for making this, basically. He was no longer allowed to. He was working for free, volunteering at a cancer hospital, playing music for cancer patients, and he was kicked out for having these beliefs. For saying what he thinks, you know, the woke people associated with it told him to go. And if you watch another video that he made, I can't think what it's called, but it's not long after this one was uploaded, a few days later. He looks like he's pretty heartbroken, you know. It's awful that people suffer, and people really do suffer in horrible ways. This isn't a joke when we say culture war. We're not kidding. People have lost things. I'm lucky I haven't yet. I guess you probably haven't lost much either.
No, no. In fact, content creators are one of the few groups out there, folks, that are actually benefiting from the current state of affairs. And
well, that's why they call us grifters, of course.
But I will say, though, ladies and gentlemen, it just goes to show how much this guy has resonated with people in terms of alternative media. The like to dislike ratio is very impressive. And it also goes to show that while our opposition has barely any supporters, they have institutional power. That's the greatest ace in their hole. And while they still have it, they can ruin people's lives. Doesn't matter if you're this guy or Gina Carano, or if you get screwed over like Henry Cavill but stay in the industry for some damn reason. If you defy them, they will use the institutions of power to do you in.
Absolutely, every time. But I do believe that it will get better, and soon. I think the tide has turned. It will still take a long time to get back to where it was. Most of the decade, I would say. But it will happen. It will, because it can't last like this. Because the future, the alternative future is literally Agenda 2030. And that literally is the end of freedom. Like, and it will only happen here. It won't happen everywhere. And plenty of people are moving, migrating, you know, like I have. But
why do you think Elon wants to go to Mars?
Yeah.
There's a reason.
From the globalists.
Yeah, there's a reason he wants to go to Mars, because he wants Call of Duty Infinite Warfare to be a fucking real thing. And
well, he'd rather that than Terminator.
Yeah.
He'd rather that than Terminator, yeah. Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. Anyway, there you go. That is the end of this episode of WTF Live. Only 39 minutes over. Sorry. it's getting so that I might as well just make this a longer show, or just assume that we're not gonna always end at 2 hours, basically. And it just keeps getting more and more busy with the things we have to talk about. So, fantastic stuff. Anyway, I've had a lot of fun and a little less fun. Oh, there is one more thing I need to do while we're still here, and that would be to bust out the Didiometer one more time and decide where this one goes. Ubisoft can get back their share price high, their highest stock price.
Oh, damn! The Philippines really is getting to you, Will. Yeah. You can't type properly. How far left can you go in regards to this? Put it in the jail cell or something.
Oh yeah, there you go. No, wait, hang on. There we go. All right, and that's that. Yeah, I don't know why I wrote that like that. I must have been. It's because I was in a hurry. There you go. I'm not normally that illiterate. I'm actually quite the opposite usually. But there you go. I've been talking all day into this microphone, so I'm knackered. Would you like to do your outro, sir?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching this longer version of WTF Live. We might have to turn this into a 3-hour show. Dobby won't be here for most of it because 2 hours, 3 hours of sitting down, his white blood cell count really does shoot down. But in regards to me, you can expect a good few videos for today and a good few videos for tomorrow and hopefully Saturday as well. We're taking a more relaxed approach to content creation as we get towards the end of 2024. That way, the bar in terms of viewership and watch time and growth isn't too high for me to go over in 2025, because that's usually how I do it. So hopefully you will enjoy what I have to offer. In regards to my next show, it will be this coming Sunday. We're going to have a panel of me and 5 other criminally underrated content creators, and we'll go through some topics of the day. I'm thinking it's going to be like a 2.5 to 3 hour show. So it's going to be packed full of stuff for us to talk about, like a mini SNH, but it's on Sunday, and all of us are old looking white men who are dying.
But you're only 25.
I know. The culture war really does have an effect on people. Just look at me.
Fair enough. Anyway, there you go. So thank you very much to everybody who's been watching this. All you guys, you mods, you members, you new members, and you lurkers, thank you all very much. Special thanks, of course, to Eris Rhoda, Mephisto X, Adam Juneman, T-Jab Steven, James Opp. Always the same names. You guys absolutely rock. Thank you very much. The
loyalists. Thank you.
Princess of the Fans is very grateful. She doesn't know it yet, but she is. And I really appreciate it. Every time we make a substantial amount on one of these shows, I stick a little bit in an account for her later education. So there's that. So I appreciate you. It really is going somewhere worth it. So thank you very much. Anyway, I'll be still grinding out videos tomorrow, although I have about 9 already scheduled to go out over the next couple of days. 3 a day. Plus, we'll be back on Sunday for WhoTF Live, where we'll be ranking Capaldi's first series, Series 8, as well as talking about the casting of yet another non-white, non-Brit in the Series 2 cast roster. And as also, what was the other thing? Oh, yes, the ridiculous attempts to convince people that the Timeless Children actually fixed some previous law issues rather than just breaking the law. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, then come on down and see us there, and we will be rocking all the way through to next week. So thank you very much for sticking with us for this extra long one. Hope you enjoyed it, got something out of it. We enjoyed having you here, and nothing left to do but wave at the camera and say see you next time.
Bye for now.
Communist pop their corporate hell into up heroes, twisted tails. brutality. They lost the plot, we'll take a stand. These corporations must perish, we'll reclaim our land. Enough is enough, we've drawn the line. We'll take back our stories, the spark divine. The will of the fans, the storm on the rise. We won't be silenced by the hollow lies. Reclaim the legacy, break the chains. These companies must die for our worlds to remain. They can't take our passion, we're holding the gates. For every fan stands protecting the will to